Ivy.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbott.
I'd like to punch him in the face.
I enjoy working with people.
Well, people. I don't know. Not most people. Some people, but not most people. Let me just wipe up some of these messages from last night. I'll call it homework. Stu in Sutton says, Nick, would you rather fight one horse-sized rabbit or 10 rabbit-sized ducks? Ducks are rabbit-sized, aren't they? Paul in London says, it was an excellent question, though. Let me ponder upon that. Paul in London says, Brexit and Parliament are literally turning into the dead parrot sketch from Monty Python. When you start doing your A to Z this year, you'll need an extra show just for Boris Johnson and Mr. Trump. Well, B is going to be relatively easy. I could do a week on bees. June in Wimbledon says, don't worry about the students. This is about photo ID. And the calling of an election on a very odd date of the 12th of December, because the universities will be out and most people that go to university would vote for the bearded Beelzebub, which makes it very suspicious that Bozo would pick that date. And on that subject, Paul in London says, June in Wimbledon says, don't worry about the students. They have 2 votes, one at college and one at their home. And believe me, they use both. I don't believe you, June. You're just making it up. This says, can Southampton replay last night's match after losing 9-0, as that was not the result that they wanted? Isn't that now how democracy works? When were the goals scored? Are you aware of any of this?
I'm aware of this.
Okay, so when were the goals scored? Please tell me it wasn't all all 9 were in the first half.
I think it was the second half they had a flurry of goals.
Right. So what did they go in at?
That's an amazing question.
Amazing.
Yeah, really good.
Wow.
So who are they playing again?
Already, maybe I'm amazing. Get Paul McCartney on the phone. He'll sing it to us.
Here we go.
Yes.
So they went into half time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4-0 up.
4-0. Wow. I mean, you just wouldn't want to come out if you go into half time and you're 4-0 down, would you? You just would rather run away. Feign an injury. Simon says, I saw Princess Beatrice in Costa Coffee in King's Road. She was very nice and even bought me a macchiato. She's not tight, best royal ever. Rubbish. That wasn't her. Was she wearing a satellite dish strapped to her head? Wasn't her. Edward says, people buy frothy coffees and bring them into work every day to give the appearance of being successful. That's not true. They just get hooked on it. I know that because when I used to do, I was going to say a proper job, but I've never really done a proper. I've done lots of jobs, but not for the long term, so I didn't really treat them very seriously. But when I used to go in every day, crack of dawn, 10 a.m., I used to stop off for, it started as a treat, and then it became an addiction. And I had to get one of them, it was a, what do they call it with coffee and chocolate in it? A mocha. So yummy. But it adds up. If you have a frothy coffee every day and the odd muffin every now and again, you've spent £1,000 a year. 1,000. But anyway, Edward says people buy frothy coffees and bring them into work every day to give the appearance of being successful. If you're spending £1,000 plus a year on frothy coffee, you really shouldn't be in a position that involves making decisions that affect others. We're all in a position of making decisions that affect others. Aggie emails. Aggie says, you won't believe this. You don't believe this rubbish, do you? You should know better than to believe these stupid polls. How many people did they poll? 12? This was the poll about the happiest places in the land. And the happiest place with the most contentment was the Ribble Valley. And the second least happy place was South Ribble. What the difference between the two must be is, they presumably build a wall between them in order to keep, the Ribble Valley people want to keep those awful South Ribble people out, for fear of becoming despondent. They're going to build a wall.
I'm building a wall, okay? I'm building a wall. I'm building a wall, okay? I'm building a wall.
And once you've built a wall, nobody can get through it.
If there's a concrete wall in front of you, go through it, go over it, go around it. But get to the other side of that wall.
Scott in Maidstone says, did you hear the rumour that Boris Johnson is already considering a change in career after his train wreck premiership? To my understanding, he's intending on becoming a drag act, calling himself Diana Ditch. Oh, I'm in pain. Listeners with material. Dowlin Hove says, why can't the MPs just get on with it? Carpe diem, seize the fish. That's exactly what carpe diem means, seize the fish. He says they should deliver on the democratic mandate of 17.4 million voters who don't care about stupid things like workers' rights, as pretty soon most people won't have a job to go to anyway. Well, that's a good point. There's just a few more of these. Chris in Yorkshire says, LBC, Nick, violence is never acceptable under any circumstances. This is the poll that came out suggesting that the vast majority of people would accept violence towards MPs and injuries to the general public as an acceptable side dish. No. Side. An acceptable sideline? No. An acceptable... oh, God, what's the word I'm looking for? What is the word I'm looking for?
Oh, sorry.
Side effect. That's right. As an acceptable side effect of getting what they want in regards of Brexit. And Chris in Yorkshire on that subject says violence is never acceptable under any circumstances. Having said that, no one asked me what I think, which sounds like a threat. Frank in Egremont says, good evening, Nick. Pray tell, how does a hedge fund work? Well, you get your money and you put it under a hedge and then water it. Jim says, and then kiss it goodbye. Jim says, do you think that these pollsters work in other countries? I wonder if they did a similar poll in Syria, Iraq and Libya. Well, they did. People did go out to judge people's happiness in Syria, Iraq and Libya, but they didn't come back. And finally, Angela tweets, I noticed on Thursday that Boris's hair seemed to be leaving his head. His scalp seemed as red as Jezza's tie. Please explain toupee slipping, maybe. Yeah, he's flipped his wig. Absolutely furious. Hey, Boris.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
0345 6060 973. So I want to get on to the second referendum, whether it's going to be a big referendum or a tightly focused one about us leaving there. Ew, or not. But first, here is a suspiciously keen caller in Lymington, wherever that is. Peter.
Yes, in the New Forest.
I doubt that, but anyway.
It is. It's the happiest place in the country.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay, then.
Yeah. At St Mary's last night, apparently the police were called afterwards because somebody...
Too much happiness?
Saint's defence was missing.
Right. Anyway,
what else are you talking about this evening?
Stuff. I'll be talking about the clocks going back in a while. And
is that tonight?
Yes, it is.
Extra hour in bed.
Oh, don't get positive about that with me. It's a terrible thing that's about to befall us.
Have you put on any extra listeners as well, like everybody else?
I've got no idea. Nobody's spoken to me about it. So
they don't tell you, do they?
Well, they will, but not yet. There's many more important people to tell before they get to me. I'm way down the list.
Yours is the only programme I'll make sure I listen to every week.
Oh, thanks, Peter. So that's one. That's one.
Yeah, and my wife. There's two.
Two. Right. Okay, then. Good. We're off to an excellent start.
Yes, not bad, is that? Enjoy the rest of your week.
Oh, that's it? Excellent work. There you go. A bit of positivity to start the programme with. It's all downhill from here. Here's Conway. And it's helpfully got on my screen here, pronounced Conway. Yeah, I know. I'm not stupid. Dave.
Hey. Hi, Nick.
Dave.
Hi, mate. Yeah. It's Brexit.
Yes.
Yeah. You got two forces in play.
Mm-hmm. Force one.
Yeah, you got the people.
Force two.
Parliament.
And they're against each other?
The Parliament holds the power.
Yeah.
So Parliament, via David Cameron, gave the people the vote.
Yeah. A stupid man asked a stupid question and got a stupid answer.
Yeah,
I think this is nonsense.
Yeah, we're still not missing you, Dave.
Yeah, no, can I say, please, Nick? It backfired.
Yeah. You can say that again.
The vote goes to the people.
The vote goes to the people?
Yes, because the people won. 52%.
People won.
Yeah,
The people
You
won.
can't deny
Well,
that, Nick.
some people won,
Yeah.
but not the
I'm being
people
a bit
that think that they
lighthearted,
won.
Nick, I'm being a bit light-hearted, but I'm going to make a point.
Well, I'm being lightheaded, so that's the both of us.
Yeah, okay. So it backfired and the vote goes to the people, yeah?
No.
So Parliament doesn't like the result.
Yeah.
So it uses its power to scupper the result.
Well, not quite. To try to improve the result.
Listen, Nick, can I just say one thing, mate?
Yes.
I predicted about 2 years ago on Tom Swarwick's program, yeah?
Yeah.
I predicted years ago on LBC that Parliament would implement endless delays to wear the people down so they would surrender.
To try to fashion some sort of
Brexit.
success out of this catastrophe that has befallen us.
Yeah. You know, they'd wear the people down, the 52%, they'd wear them down and down and down.
Yeah. It's about a third.
Enough's enough,
Not really 52%. It's about a third of the population.
Yeah,
more or less.
52%.
About a third.
People that voted 52%.
Yeah, it's about a
They'd
third.
wear the people down
About
so they would
It's about a third of the population voted yes, a third of the population voted no, and a third of the population didn't vote. So it's a third. It's not 52% of the population, it's a third.
Yes, but what I'm saying, can I get to my main point? Which is
I wish you would.
30 seconds.
Yes.
Right?
Time is running out.
People down,
faster than you know.
That they would surrender to a no deal or a very weak deal.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what's happening.
Right. Well, what do you mean by very weak deal? I bet you can't tell me.
Well, this deal is not a deal, it's a treaty.
What's the difference?
A treaty is something which you work with the other person to say, okay, we'll stay in on these terms.
Yeah, that's a deal, in other words.
No, it's a treaty.
Well, what's the difference between a treaty and a deal?
Nigel
I bet you can't tell
Farage
me.
calls it a treaty.
Oh, God. You're getting your news from Nigel Farage?
I'm a nutcase.
Yes, Nigel Farage.
Right.
He calls it a treaty. But the thing is...
Are you a member of his party?
I'm not, but I'm very poorly educated. Although...
Well, the two are not mutually exclusive. You can be a member of his party and be poorly educated.
I love the poorly educated.
Yeah.
I'm poorly educated, although I hold vocational qualifications and 2 A-levels.
2? Wow.
Yes, 2 A-levels. I didn't get a degree. My brother did.
Well, that is an indicator of nothing at all. Some of the stupidest people I've ever met have degrees.
Well, my brother actually went to Cambridge.
I've been to Cambridge. It was quite nice.
No, he actually went to Cambridge University,
Oh, I
Downing
see.
College.
Right.
He went to Downing College. He got a 2-1.
Well, I went to loads of colleges. You can wander around most of them for free. It's pleasant.
I was
It's
in
a
the
lovely
military
day
as
out.
well.
Yeah.
Nick, I was in the military.
Yeah. Now he's
I was in the military. I
threatening
saved my
me.
country.
Yeah.
I saved my country.
Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump will be proud of me.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay, excellent work. Thanks a lot, Dave. Does anybody have any idea what that was about?
No.
0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC.
We've got a few idiots in our party. This is LBC. This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet @LBC. Text 84850.
Who do you think you're talking to?
I'm talking to my glamorous assistant. Just one moment. A bit of house cleaning, housework, house... God, it's one of those days. I can't think of anything. I am feeling, I don't know whether this is obvious through the radio, but I'm feeling a little lightheaded.
I feel lightheaded. That's what I feel.
So I'm trying to get this man through there to make the words smaller because there's about one word on a whole screen. You put the text and such so that each word is about a foot high. Just make it smaller.
No. I think you've got it the wrong way round.
Oh, I see. It's my fault. It's about the only thing that you have control over on this entire show, and it's the only thing that's broken so far. You've done terribly badly. You're awful at this job.
I know.
Andy says, Saturday night, LBC, Nick Abbott, this is Remain Propaganda Central. Yes, welcome to the show. I dispute that. It isn't. G in London says, Dear Nick, there is no Costa Coffee in King's Road. That man can't have seen Beatrice from Ken in Westminster. P.S. Have you heard the word of the Lord, Nick? Have you heard the word of Jesus? It's his birthday coming up. Ron in Hounslow says, I apologise if this upsets you. Uh-oh. Grip onto something firm. He says, I apologise if this upsets you, but I'd really like an update on your newer car, the broken one. Oh, yeah, my newer car. It's still broken. Thanks for asking. I tried to do the right thing. My old car, the only one the one that works, it works almost perfectly, almost the entire time I've had it, which is 20 years now. I can't think of anything that's really broken down on it, ever. Apart from the driver's window, which now needs assistance to go up. It can go down easily. It's the going up part what it finds difficult, so I have to push it up. If only it had one of those winding things. How lazy are we? We can't even be bothered to wind a window up. We need a button. That's about the silliest thing I can think of. I mean, yes, if it's the other side of the car, because that used to be a bit of a faff if you were stopping to ask people directions, before the invention of sat-navs. Hey, kids, there used to be a thing called maps. Can you believe that?
No.
We used to have to get about by looking at them. You give somebody a map these days, even if it's a map to the loo in their own house, they wouldn't be able to make head and a tail of it. But that used to be a bit problematic because you have to lean over and wind the window down. Now it's just the touch of a button. But the window that's next to you, that also needs a button. No car that is sold these days comes without a button that opens and closes your window. They just don't exist. This says, the only way to make coffee is with a trusty Bialetti pot that you put on a stove. Just boycott the rubbish coffee shops. And Sal says, frothy coffee, not successful, just stupid. In answer to the text that I had yesterday it was, actually, I was just wiping up yesterday's text, says that people buy a frothy coffee every day in order to look successful. No, they don't. It doesn't make you look successful. It just makes you look a bit like a mug. You'll spend $1,000, that's how much it costs. If you buy one a day, 5 days a week, and have the odd muffin every now and again, it'll cost you £1,000 a year. That's insane, particularly as when you get to work, I bet that they've got free coffee. Okay, it might be instant, but it's still drugs.
Want to score some pot?
And that's really what we're interested in. It's the drugs part. It gives you a bit of a lift. You can get one for free at work. Plus, I think that I always get the feeling that instant coffee's got more drugs in it. Don't you feel that? Because proper coffee sometimes makes me want to just lie down and go to sleep. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's the clean, clear hit of an instant coffee buzz. Maybe you're not supposed to snort it. Here's Catford. Steve.
Hi, Nick. Overrated coffee, I would argue.
What?
Coffee.
Overrated?
Expensive and not very good for you.
Oh, that's not true. I mean, every now and again the newspaper will say that coffee is the thing that will kill you. You put that cup down straight away, otherwise you won't live to see the end of it. And then the very next day they'll say, you must drink 3 cups of coffee a day, otherwise your heart's going to explode at your chest like the alien monster.
Well, yeah, I've given up coffee. I found it was I don't know. I was drinking it because I assumed I liked it.
Yeah, I do like it. I gave up coffee accidentally.
Well done.
Well, aren't you curious? Aren't you remotely interested? Well, ask me then.
Okay, Nick, you gave up coffee accidentally. That's very strange. Why?
Yes, thank you. Because I accidentally bought some decaffeinated coffee without realising it, and I got really chronic headaches. I thought, why am I getting these headaches? They just won't go away. I'm necking aspirin like a kid on the way out to a disco who's made a bad drug choice. And it just didn't go away, and I just, like, days would go by, and I thought, it just won't leave me, this low-level headache. And then I saw the blooming packet. It was anti-caffeine, decaffeinated. Oh my! Maybe the coffee that I had just before I came on the air was decaffeinated. Maybe that's my problem. I've been duped.
Maybe. Yeah. I didn't really want to talk. I was going to talk about poles and stuff, but I will mention a variety of baked beans that I particularly liked, or used to like. But they changed it. They took all the nasty stuff out of it, and it's.
And now it doesn't taste very nice. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, the low salt, low sugar baked beans are not worth the tin they come in.
Oh no,
they
love
are
the beans
rubbish.
on toast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But with an
anyway,
egg, with a runny egg, because just beans on toast is too much of a one-note treat. You have to have a runny egg to go with it.
Or some cheese grated into it.
Oh, that's disgusting. What, are you out of your mind? That's the worst thing I've ever heard. Cheese?
Yes, you grate cheese into your baked beans.
Actually, you know what you just made? Pizza. You just made a pizza, haven't you? Tomato sauce with cheese on toast. That's a pizza. Yeah. Worst pizza ever.
Yeah, pretty much. But you get nice bread. You get nice thick, and it's got to be white bread as well for beans on toast.
Yeah, you're right about that. Yeah, no mucking about. Sourdough, perhaps. Something with a bit of crisp to it. Yeah.
Oh God.
Not that tasteless white foam that most people buy.
No. That's Wonderloaf. Do you remember Wonderloaf? You're of an age.
Well, I remember. Do they not sell that anymore?
I don't think.
Well, what was so wonderful about it then?
Well, it wasn't.
People were leaving it on the shelves.
It was like a sponge.
She flies like a bird through the sky.
Yeah. Nimble. Yeah. Anyway, I've been on this planet quite a long time.
Well, how long?
Well, getting up for 60 years.
Yeah.
And I've never been asked to do a poll. I've never been ever asked to do a poll.
I have. Only once. Somebody came to my door, said, "Hello, I'm from Radar. That's the radio audience joy."
Something. Yeah, I've been seeing that a while. I don't know
what does Radar actually stand for.
Radio Joint Audience Research.
We've got really no idea. But anyway, they're very, very important to each and every one of us. And somebody knocked on my door, says, "Hello, I'm from Radar, and I'd like to ask you about your radio listening. We'll give you a diary and you can fill it in for 2 weeks." And pound signs were coming into my eyes because I thought, right, I'm going to fill in me so much it's going to make my bosses explode with pleasure. And then he said, "Do you know anybody who works in radio?" And so I had to say yes, because I'm a good boy, I am. And then he left.
Been around a bit.
Yeah, he left.
Well, no one's ever asked me anything. I've never even been. I mean, I've not got a criminal record, although I did get busted for a little bit of cannabis once.
Right, guilty.
But they let me go. I was only 17. But and I haven't been asked for jury service. I'm starting to get a little bit paranoid.
Yeah, well, I don't actually want to say that out loud in case it actually happens. But I haven't been either.
No, it's starting to worry me. I think I don't even drop litter. I mean, what's wrong with them?
Well, wow, we found someone, ladies and gentlemen. There's a person who doesn't drop litter. One person in the whole wide world. Finally, we found them.
God, I know it's disgraceful. And
I pick litter up. I'm a reverse litter dropper. I go around picking it up. I know that sounds insane, but only around where I live. You know, if it blows in and around my driveway, I will pick it up if it's in the street.
Yeah, isn't it horrible? It's kind of, when I grew up, I mean, there was fish and chips and the occasional Chinese, and even that was a little bit, that was quite rare. And now it's just fast food. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. And you see children coming out of chip shops with little boxes.
I think you're reminiscing a little bit too much. You're looking back at your youth through rose-tinted spectacles, which, by the way, are probably the best tint to get, because everything looks fantastic through rose-tinted spectacles. I got a pair of glasses that barely held together now. They've got scratches all over them, but everything looks fantastic through them because they're a sort of a reddy brown. And I'm not kidding. The day looks great through those. It does.
I mean, let's get on to music. Music was better then.
Oh,
come on.
shut up. Well, that's true, but stop going on about it. I know it was, but we'll always have Velvet Underground.
Rock and roll!
And it doesn't matter how long ago it was recorded, it still sounds fresh to me.
It does. It sounds like, wow.
Get yourself the 1967, I think it's 67, wasn't it? Or 66? 67, the live album, the one with the woman's parts on the front.
Disgusting.
And What Goes On, which is like about a 7-minute sort of jazz jam. It is fantastic. You can thank me later. No, wait. I've changed my mind. You can thank me now.
Thank you.
All right, Steve, I've got to go.
I
gotta go. I've got to go.
Okay. Nick.
All right, thanks a lot. 0345 6. Cheer up, mate. It might never. Oh no, that's right. It already has.
18+BigGambleAware.org. Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
I feel lightheaded.
Oh, I've done this one.
That's what I feel.
Yes. 0345 6060 973. This says they used to do a Heinz baked bean pizza. It was lovely. They did a sausage and bean one in Iceland. A sausage and bean pizza. That sounds terrible. Beans on a pizza. Ugh. He says people are so lazy nowadays. Nower. Nower. Wow. That's terrible. Nowadays. People are so lazy nowadays, they have a button to open and close their car boot. That's true. I mean, I get the opening part, because if you're struggling from Tesco's and your arms are full for shopping, you can just about open the boot. You don't want to have to put it down in the puddles. But closing? You can't close your own boot? You've got to get a button for that? That's silly. This says it was 5-0 at half-time in the Southampton game. You need to fire your researcher. Hey.
I got this wrong.
You're fired.
Sorry.
That must have been awful. Those poor people. I bet Hussein Hassenhurser dropped a syllable just in shame. Huffenhofer, whatever his name is. To say nothing of James Ward-Prowse. He dropped one of his surnames. Martin in Epsom says Southampton were 5-0 down at half-time. See, people are piling in on you, aren't they? Idiot. Ragad says, enjoy listening to LBC at Milan Airport and are waiting to board a delayed flight to Cairo, where the weather is fantastic, probably. Yeah, thanks a lot, mate, but we don't wish to know that. This is Ravi from Isleworth, which has been helpfully written up on my screen as pronounced eyes all worth. Yes, Ravi?
Yes, I'm in the posh part of the house there. Nick, how are you?
I'm great, mate.
Yeah, firstly, I hope they don't make you stay behind 1 hour because the clocks are going backwards.
No, it happens after I leave. Ha-ha, charade you are.
Oh, good. Well, you'll be back home for your morning cuppa.
I will,
Nick, I'm just thinking, they want to have an election 12th of December. I mean, that's going to be, the least of the worries. Most people are going to be Christmas shopping.
Yep.
I mean, most people are concerned about, whether they're going to get paid.
Most people will be, at that time of year, most people are going to be drunk.
I think Boris is quite clever. People just might vote for him because of they might be drunk. And,
I don't think so. I think that people will look poorly on somebody who's forcing them to go out in the wind and the cold and the rain to go and express their opinion in a referendum on the 12th of December.
Well, they're looking for two questions. I mean, first the election, then the referendum. And imagine you're coming from your, let's say you're coming in the cold weather and you just spoil your ballot paper. I mean, I think Boris has done a good decision, actually, for the election.
Yeah, terrible decision.
I am voting for Boris.
Oh, is that right? Why are you doing that, then?
Well, firstly, he's a neighbour. I mean, he's not far from Hamza. He's a nice rich guy. Plus, I like his hairstyle.
Yeah, right. Yes. Anybody could fashion their hair like Boris. You just have to sleep in a skip. Yeah.
But also you got to give him credit. I mean, look, you got his sister against him, his brother against him.
Mm-hmm.
The only one who supports him is his dad.
Yes, that's absolutely right.
Yeah.
It takes some
anyway,
effort to get your entire family, apart from your father, to say you're a dope and you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
And he's not your neighbour. I bet he's never been there.
No, I met him once for tea. We had tea together once in Uxbridge, yeah, and I do like him.
You had tea together?
Yeah, well, not kind of sort of... he went to some kind of cafe there. He was there. And,
well, so when you say together, you mean you weren't with him, you were in the same room, but elsewhere?
I managed to get a photo with 2 cups, so I say...
Right.
But that's the good old days anyway.
But what are his table manners like, Ravi? Just curious.
I would say anyone who goes to Eton and Oxford, Cambridge, is far better than mine, I must say.
Okay, all right. Thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. Steve says, please stop spreading stupid misinformation. Carpe diem does not mean seize the fish. Any fool will tell you that carpe diem means fish of the day. Peter in Baking says, baking? Okay, says, just caught a little bit of your show last night about renaming the term Brexiteers. I think they should be called believers, as they believed in what BJ and Nigel Farage told them. Also, like the old adage, if it ain't broke, don't Brexit. I meant barking. You meant barking.
Barking.
Right. Peter in Breaking said that. So MPs are trying to force a vote on the second referendum or customs union as early as next week. Isn't it exciting? Blimey, it's all coming to a head. It's just thrilling, ain't it?
No.
As early as next week. They've been saying that something dramatic is going to be happening as early as next week for months now. As early as next week, MPs are plotting to try and force a vote on a second referendum or a customs union, rather than giving in to Boris Johnson's election demands, as we've just been hearing. And the MPs that are plotting are known as the Rebel Alliance. Hey, the new Star Wars film is coming out soon. Let's hope it doesn't suck like the last Star Wars film. Remainer politicians are plotting to take control of Parliament's timetable again, says the Mail, in a similar tactic to that used to force the MP to ask for a Brexit delay with the Ben Act, or the Surrender Act, as Bozo would call it, or the Patriot Act, as we should be calling it. It's not a surrender act to act in the country's best interests. And just because the country is bored doesn't mean that we should accept any old thing that's in the interests of the billionaires behind Brexit, or to lead us into another election that nobody wants and won't solve the issue at hand. Or probably give any party a majority. I mean, you really think that it's going to actually solve anything, have another election? We're going to be back to where we started from, and considerably poorer. I mean, what would happen if we had an election and we were left in exactly the same place, with the Tories in power but not having enough of a majority to do anything? Then what? I mean, the Lib Dems would probably score big. The Nigel party might get some MPs, but it's unlikely.
We've got a few idiots in our party.
And we'd have wasted all that time and money, and we could have been in the shops buying presents for people that won't want them, with money we haven't got, in celebration of Jesus' birthday. I mean, at least if we have a second referendum, then the Remain side would demonstrate that they are in the majority, as would almost certainly be the case if we had a second referendum. The Remain side would demonstrate that they're in the majority. That's why the Brexiteers don't want a second referendum, because they know that they would lose. I mean, the first referendum was a fluke, stolen by underhand means with dodgy money and Russian help. Any fool know that. And then, if we have a second referendum, and the Remain side wins, then we could all go back to loving each other and getting along just fine. And Boris Johnson telling Jeremy Corbyn to man up and back his plans for a pre-Christmas general election is just a sort of schoolboy insult that we've come to expect of a leader of a country. after the example given to us on a daily basis by the worst president ever.
A president! Can you believe it?
So this Brexit process was effectively put on hold because Boris Johnson doesn't want to play anymore. So he took his ball and he stomped off because he doesn't enjoy the top job as much as he thought he would. Been yearning for it his entire life. And this time next week we will be lamenting the demise of the briefest Prime Minister in history who decided to die if he didn't get his own way. It just remains for him to pick the ditch he wants to die in. We could excavate it for him with the digger that he said he'd lie in front of to stop a third runway at Heathrow before he ran away to avoid voting to stop it. I mean, he could proceed with the process of getting his deal through Parliament. He's probably got the numbers to get it through as long as his parliamentarians get the chance to actually read the blooming thing, which would be called doing their job. But Boris Johnson's doing nothing, essentially sitting down in a huff and refusing to come out just because he can't get his way. I do have a sound effect for that. Yes. Because this Brexit thing can't be solved with his trademark dishevelled bluster and arcane Latin phrases and talk of Greek gods and all that other flannel that he learned at Eton to impress upon us that he went to, Eton. He's a sullen and presumptuous little boy and he should be punished. Thank you, sir. May I have another? Meanwhile, Remainer politicians plan to bring back the PM's Brexit deal, but hold votes to attach a second referendum or a customs union. Dominic Grieve, the Tory rebel, said that the tide is coming back in favour of a second referendum. Dominic Grieve said politics is the art of the possible, and clearly it's been my argument for a long time that it would be desirable to have a second referendum and put the options available to the public to resolve the problems that we have. And lots of people want a second referendum. Perfectly reasonable people want a second referendum.
We should have a second referendum.
Even Nigel Farage said he wanted one, and he's not a nutcase.
I'm a nutcase.
The PM says an election on December the 12th is the only way to resolve the Brexit nightmare, but it might not solve anything. And it's the wrong question anyway. And he needs the bearded Beelzebub to say yes. And he's saying no.
Yes.
2/3 of MPs have got to vote for an early election. He ain't going to get that. You couldn't get 2/3 of MPs to agree on anything except that they're all due a pay rise. Business Minister Kwesi Kwarteng said it was very difficult for Britain to leave the European Union next week because of the Ben Act. He called it the Surrender Act, another one of those, which essentially gave authority to the EU, the other side, about whether we will leave on October the 31st or not, which is just the sort of language that reasonable people in positions of power should be avoiding. But certain individuals can't help themselves. And he defended the decision to mint hundreds of thousands of commemorative Brexit 50p coins. I bet you've forgotten they did that. Oh, yeah, we're going to have a commemorative Brexit 50 pence coin, because that will force MPs to vote his way. I bet that's the intention. Well, we spent all this money on coins now. And Kwesi Kwarteng said he doesn't think that minting of commemorative Brexit 50p coins was foolish. Yes, it was. That's exactly what it was. And Kwesi said Jeremy Corbyn didn't want a general election because he was scared of the outcome, which is about as schoolboyish as you can get while not actually being a schoolboy. Hey, Kwesi, you forgot to say no. Are there any grown-ups who would like to take over at this point?
No.
No, too smart. And at the bottom of this story by the Daily Mail, the second best-rated quote. If I'm in want of amusement, I often look down to the comments underneath these stories, and my reaction is usually, "Who the hell are these people?" But this, surprisingly, was the second best-rated quote when I looked. It's from somebody in New Zealand, bizarrely. It said, "Here are the rules. The first referendum was pure democracy in action and completely necessary to determine the will of the people at the time. Whereas the second referendum is completely undemocratic and a betrayal of the people." Everyone clear? Yeah, that's about where we are. And it took somebody from the other side of the planet to point it out to us. You'd have to go into space to get further away. Maybe it's the distance that makes everything clear, brings it into perspective. Too much bleeping perspective. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday and Saturday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
Eddie Mayor Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Yeah! Dudes! Here's a call in Hackney. Hello, Andrew.
Hello, I've got 2 points to make. I was listening to LBC News, and they said they're going to extend Brexit again. What can't they sort out? They say it's deals. What deals do they need to make?
Dude, you haven't been listening to LBC News enough. What's your second question? Right.
My second point is about immigration. Yeah. Now, I know this is a very sensitive subject, but my opinions are raised. Pardon?
Go ahead. I'm just preparing myself.
Yeah, in my opinion, what we should do is, stop immigration. Because this country is becoming very populated.
Yeah, I know, we're full. Yeah.
Jobs for everyone.
Yeah, sure.
Did you know statistically it was about 300 people?
Please don't bamboozle us with facts, Andrew. Nobody's remotely interested in facts anymore. We're all about feelings now, baby. But anyway, I want you to keep on keeping on. Will you do that for me?
Keep on keeping on? What do you mean?
Exactly. Phil in Dorset says, heard a good Brexit joke today. Oh, God. It's like 2 in a row on the Nicky Abbott show. I heard a good Brexit joke today. An Englishman, a Scotsman and an Irishman walk into a bar. The Englishman wanted to go, so they all had to leave. Okay, that's not bad. Normally we don't like jokes, but that's not bad. I'll make an exception in your case, and only your case, Phil. It's not a blooming Christmas cracker, you know. Rob the Postman says, decaf is the way to go. No, it absolutely isn't. Decaf gives you a headache if you're used to the proper stuff. He says if you have 5 cups of coffee a day... 5? Who has 5 cups of coffee a day? That's insane. Well, I'm just counting up how many I have. I only have 1 lot of coffee, but I have a lot of coffee in that lot. Maybe 3 in one go. I have 3 in one go. Then I run around the place like a cat in its mad half hour. Cat owners will know what I'm talking about. About a half hour or an hour, something like that, after they eat, they just go berserk. They've got that mad staring look in their eyes, and they just run up and down the stairs, and they climb the curtains and just go completely off their heads. That's me after lunch. 3 cups of coffee. I mean, the strong stuff. Poured out like treacle. Anyway, it says decaf is the way to go. If you have 5 cups of coffee a day, start with a cup of decaf first, and then have 4 cups as usual. Day 2, start with 2 cups of decaf, then 3 cups, until you're on 5 cups of decaf a day. No headache, doing it that way, and it's way nicer. Rubbish. Or you could just skip all of that and just keep having the coffee. Proper coffee. I mean, it hasn't been our second most favourite drug ever for no reason. Lee says, it's been raining heavily and flood warnings are in a few places. Have you forgotten to do the weather forecast? Yeah, here's the weather forecast. Warning! No, I did it yesterday. Only one forecast per week is Nessa. And Deck in Vienna says, if you translate Southampton's Austrian manager's name to English, it's Ralphie Rabbit Hutch. It's true. What? Hoffenhofer is actually Ralphie Rabbit Hutch. And that's a fact. Let's have Streatham. Joy.
Oh, Lord. Good evening, Nick.
Yes, Joy.
I think I'm going to have to get in the habit of just hopefully send text to compliment you and done instead of bothering to phone in. And your lovely producer phones me back, and I'm wondering what on earth is going on. Is there an earthquake in the studio? I phoned up to compliment well, just to actually say I was one of your favorite fans. But the long wait is taking that feeling away, but I still love your show.
Okay, thanks, Joy.
Just a second. I missed your discussion on Donald Trump.
Yeah.
I've missed it, and I miss, I think, the Scottish guy, because you do his voice so brilliantly. So please, could I have my fix for the night? I need the both of you on the air. And if you have a stand-up comedy show with him as your sidekick, I would pay.
Pay huge amounts of money. Well, just send me the money and I'll think about it. How does that sound?
Well, all right, no, that's not good enough. In regards to Brexit, that's not good enough.
Okay, then. All right.
You do make me laugh, but I don't have that money to throw down the drain. I would love to watch the both of you live.
Down the drain? It's not down the drain. I would put it to good use.
I'm sure you will, but you don't need it. You can always sell your banged up old car instead of pushing it up.
Yeah, but then how am I going to get to work?
You can walk.
Oh, thanks. Walk?
Yeah, just stretch your legs.
Walk. Well, I suppose so, yeah.
That's what the caveman had to do for thousands of years, and people are still doing it.
Well, that's right. Yeah, but I'm not a caveman.
Don't worry, you're not far from it.
What?
You're not far from it. It's a survival. It's a survival.
I'm just checking how long it would take me to go to walk home. I have an app for that.
1 hour?
4.5 hours. Wow.
Don't worry, you can jog half the way.
Yeah.
Do the George Bush.
Right.
Is it fast run or whatever?
Okay, I'll do that. Yeah, leave it with me.
You can do Extinction Rebellion.
Anyway, what else you got, Joy?
Now, okay, Brexit. Please, I need to understand supporters of Boris Johnson. Are they just deliberately pretend that they're deaf, dumb, and whatever else? It makes no sense. The notion that Donald Trump blatantly stood up and said, I love the dumb people, I can't recall. It's the same thing. I don't get it. What is in your brain, if it's functioning properly, that you'll continue to pretend like everybody else is to blame? Could you just start off with the Conservative Party got us in this mess, just trying to hold a damn blasted party together?
Well, it's worse than that. Everything that the Conservative Party are now saying that they're going to address and solve, all of the problems that have befallen this country over the last 10, 11 years, they're saying, we're going to fix that now. With the NHS, we're going to put more police on the streets. And all you need to do is vote for us again when the opportunity arises. And we will fix all of these problems that the evil Labour Party, over their past 10 years of misrule, have caused to this once great country. Oh, no, wait a minute. That's right. It hasn't been the Labour Party running, it's been the Conservatives. So only the Conservatives can fix the problems that the Conservative Party have caused us.
Thank you. Oh, my God. They put an end to the sports in schools. They reduced the time. They have implemented policies time and time again. And then they come up with their dumb solution. You caused the problem in the first. So you flooded my home. And then you tell me, by the way, I can put you off for the night. Yeah. Or I'll try. Are you for real? I don't get it. I'm so confused.
I'm going to set fire to my house and then tell everybody that I am the only person that can solve this problem of my house being on fire. Yeah, because that makes as much sense as anything else I've heard lately. All right, thanks a lot, Joy. What do you think about that, Boris?
I think he's betraying a quite stupefying ignorance.
Not he. Sexist. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. So I'd like to talk about workers' rights and maybe the French. You know the French, don't you? Yes, that's them. Also, we haven't discussed the elephant in the room yet. So later, but not too much later. Friday and Saturday night at 10, Nick Abbot, LBC.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Hello.
This is absolute tosh.
Tom in Kendal says, now this is an update on a message that I had yesterday, and I'm sure that a lot of people are very, very interested in this update.
No.
Tom in Kendal says, I'm listening to your show from my hotel room in Birmingham. You remember this? I took my wife to a Star Trek convention today. Huh. She still hates Star Trek. She still hates Star Trek. It cost me copious amounts of expensive wine and a slap-up meal as compensation. Live long and prosper, says Tommy Kendall. Pat says, hey Nick, if our leader Bozo wants his government to go on strike, like they've been hinting, I hope they have held a ballot to comply with trade union law. And this says, does the Star Wars film coincide with leaving the EU? I don't know. I've got no idea when it's out. I mean, they usually put these things out at Christmas. In fact, I think that's exactly when it's out. On Jesus' birthday. That's when the new Star Wars film is out. Now, I can't remember what her name is. She is great, but the bloke that goes along, the sort of dopey sidekick, I can't stand him. But she is excellent, whatever her name is. Yoda or something. I've got no idea. All I know is that it's a bit of a letdown from number 1, which was actually number 4. Is that clear?
No.
Dave tweets, hey Nick, and none of them were, well, apart from the first one, which was number 4. Apart from that, I don't think any of them have been quite as good as the one that I can't remember the name of. That wasn't actually part of Star Wars, but it was a side route. What was that called? What was that one called?
Was that Clone Wars?
No.
Oh, that's not
Star
Trek?
No, Clone... Oh, dear. That's just awful. No, Clone Wars was, I think, episode 2, wasn't it? What do you mean, no?
I thought Clone Wars was a separate thing.
I don't think so. I think
you're probably right.
Yeah, I think... No, there was the March of the Clones, or something like that, was number 2. And then... I Am Your Father was number 3. And number 1 was A New Hope. But what an excellent title for a film, A New Hope, because nobody had heard of it before. A New Hope from what? People were keen to find out. They were queuing around the block, they were. It was a sensation, 1977. Packed full of sensations was 1977. I hope I got the year right, otherwise I'll look like an idiot. Dave tweets, I'm a Brexiteer, and now I want a 3-question second referendum. Question 1, stay in the EU. 2, leave with Mr. Johnson's deal. 3, leave on WTO. And I'm one of the poorly educated, so what does that tell you? It tells me, Dave, that you've got no idea what leaving on WTO terms means. Nobody does. Well, some people do, but they're ill-disposed to actually express an opinion on this subject. Mostly. And if they do, nobody pays the blindest bit of attention. Everybody's made their minds up about this already, like the question is a religious one. And nobody's prepared to change their minds in any way, shape or form based on any new information that comes their way. WTO terms. It would be a catastrophe leaving on WTO terms. I mean, I will go into it if you want. Anybody want me to do that?
No.
No. Good thing, too. L-Beer, Battersea.
Hi.
L-Beer.
Nick, you want to get rid of your headaches?
Yes.
Okay. You have to take 500 milligrams of magnesium every night.
500 pills?
No.
Do I have to? 500?
500 milligrams.
500 pills.
Yeah. No. mg milligrams of magnesium.
Right.
Every night.
That sounds like a really bad idea. I mean,
No.
Well,
it's not a bad idea because I cure myself with the magnesium.
Right.
Okay?
It's giving you an accent. Are you aware of that?
Yes, I've got many accents.
It's a side effect.
The side effect are my accents.
Yeah.
Yes.
Huh.
Well.
Oh, is that it? Am I going to do it? No, absolutely not. I'm perfectly fine.
No, you have to.
Well, I'm not going to.
No, you have to.
Well, furthermore, no.
Why you have to torture yourself with the headaches? I'm telling you what to do, and then that's it.
Well, all I have to do to remove the headache from accidentally taking decaffeinated coffee is to...
No. Forget about the caffeine or coffee. No. you have to take it, and then that's it.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm definitely not going to do that.
You have to.
I don't think that's true. No.
I'm telling you now.
Well, okay. But,
okay.
All right, then.
Nick.
Okay.
Good luck.
Thanks
Bye.
a lot, Elvira. Cheers, my dear. 034. Don't take 500 pills of anything without contacting a trained professional. I mean, not necessarily a medical professional, but, like your plumber. Ask him what he thinks. Or her. Sexist. Sash in Kent says, I think you're thinking of Rogue One. Yes, I am.
Affirmative.
Rogue One, which was a prequel to A New Hope. Was it? I don't think it really matters whether it was a prequel or a sequel or what. It was a side shoot. It was very good. Martin says, Rogue One, Clone Wars was a separate TV show. Are they on TV now? There's a Star Wars TV program. Really? God, they really are squeezing that franchise dry, aren't they? The Disney people. Clone Wars was a separate TV show. Attack of the Clones was episode 2. Right, Attack of the Clones. And this says the Star Wars flick you're thinking of was Rogue One, the one when everyone died. Oh, spoiler alert. Yeah, everybody died. Yeah, sorry about that. Now you don't need to see it. Everybody died, including the gay robot.
Why doesn't anyone listen to me?
Paul in Lower Boddington, there's no such place, says you can't beat the original Star Wars from 1977. I remember seeing it at the Streatham Odeon, spelled Odion. It cheapened the trilogy when they introduced Skoda into the storyline. Skoda. When you watch them again, as I have done just recently, the third one, which is episode 6, is unwatchable. It's Muppets in space. It's just painful on the eye. I can't stand it. But the first 2, which was 4 and 5, they are excellent. But boy, do they look cheap. I mean, the first one particularly looks so cheap. They spent absolutely no money on it at all. But they didn't realise they were sitting on a £1 billion franchise back then. Yeah, they spent a lot of money on the subsequent ones. But the first one, which was just a cowboy movie in space, it was tremendous. I think they did it for threepence halfpenny, which was the currency back then. Robert in Dumfriesshire says, when we get our Scottish independence, will you set up a Scottish LBC station and be on it for 24 hours a day? That'd be nice. You're welcome up here, says Robert in Dumfriesshire. We've got a Scottish LBC station. It's this one. We're here, there and everywhere, baby. We're worldwide. We are universal. Lucas says, I know how to solve Brexit. Let's do a referendum and leave the answer open so you can write whatever you want as a deal. Yeah, it'll just be a blank piece of paper and you write your own question. I'll talk about workers' rights in a minute because Crazy Kwasi Kwarteng was sounding off about that, and I thought it was kind of amusing what he said. He probably didn't mean it to be amusing, but it made me laugh. Ipswich, hello, Gary.
Hiya, Nick. How you doing?
Good, thanks.
I never watched Star Wars, never watched Star Trek, never watched Harry Potter.
What?
Never watched Indiana Jones. They're all fantasy. Come into the real world.
No.
Join real life.
But I'm in real life all the time.
Well, you keep saying...
well, no, wait a minute. What kind of films do you like?
I like gangster. I like prison films.
What? This is how you like to spend your time, watching people kill each other and then going to jail for it.
No, I like the John Wayne and I like Clint, and I pronounced that right, didn't I, Clint Eastwood?
Clint Eastwood, right? That's what you said. I couldn't be absolutely sure of what you said, but Clint Eastwood, right? Okay. You keep on about us leavers as being. I don't know. We always keep being called names, and it's so annoying. And I don't like the term names. Like what names?
Well, but people keep telling us that we're not the full ticket, that we don't know what we're doing. We didn't know what we were voting for.
Well, you didn't.
And I sometimes think that the people that want to remain, they're people that when they were children, they walked around with a blanket and they had an imaginary friend called Teddy. And, you know, that they couldn't survive without a crutch.
Is this you not being offensive?
Well, this is me trying to get my own back because I'm trying to put some balance into the debate because it's all one side. Because you said that if the next referendum, if it happens and Remain won, then the Leavers would be losers.
No, that's your term. That is the lead. Yes, absolutely. It's no.
You said this tonight. I heard it.
Well, I didn't. But the terminology, the losers phrase is one bandied about by Brexiters, not the other way around.
Well, I don't think. I don't
absolutely.
Think so.
You lost. The amount of times I've heard you lost, get over it.
Well, yeah. There are people that are like that think it's that simple, but. But the idea that if there was a second referendum and the Remainers won and the Leavers lost and they'd become losers, which is what you said tonight.
I don't think so.
And you did. And then what was the first referendum then that Remainers lost and the Leavers won? Then you are losers.
Well, yeah, but I've heard that for the last 3 years. You lost, get over it, over and over and over again.
But I'm addressing what you're saying to the effect that we're the losers if you win the next referendum.
Right. Well, back at you. Exactly. I mean, if you throw it around so much, then you can't possibly complain if it gets chucked back at you. And by the way, we're all losers. This process has made us all lose, all of us.
Well, I don't think so. I think in the long run, that the EU is a defunct corporation. It's something that has gone above its pay grade, and we can't afford it. It's something that governments can do amongst themselves. Well, we can do a trade deal with Germany. We can do a trade deal with France.
Gary, the way listen. Okay. Listen to me, and I'll tell you. The reason that we need the EU is that the world is being split up into giant gangs, like a schoolyard. There are very few small, individual, powerful nations anymore. They're all in giant conglomerations. There's the USA, which is its own giant conglomeration. There's China, which is its own giant conglomeration. And then they are twinning with other less powerful countries like Canada and Mexico and so on and so forth. And so to compete with them, and India's coming up on the inside, and to compete with them, as tiny little country bobbing about off the coast of Europe, we've got no chance competing with these giants.
Yeah, but you're making this world into one ginormous monopoly board.
Well, that's what it is.
No,
absolutely. Winner takes all. That's the way. That's the way it is.
If you look at the smaller countries in Europe, Norway, Sweden, Finland, Denmark, they actually function quite well.
Well, we do too. We do.
No,
we function. Yeah, absolutely, we do. Of course, we do.
No, we don't, because we have got a class of people, and it's nearly a third of the people that don't work within the framework of a good job. They're either unemployed or they're claiming social.
That's not true. We do not have a lot. It is not true. It is not true. We do not have a large group of unemployed people. Well, yes, that's.
We are leaving behind.
Well, that's true, but that's true everywhere.
No, it's not. You won't find that. Last night you were saying that these small countries that pay high tax.
Yes.
Are the happiest in. Well, why is the head of per population the highest suicide rate in Finland?
Well, probably because it only gets light for half an hour a day.
So they can't be that happy then, can they?
Well, the rate for suicide is neither here nor there. You'll find that most suicides happen in young men, and old men look back on their youth with wistful, starry-eyed pleasure. So if that's their happiest period, then why do they kill themselves so much?
On my youth like that. I'm actually thinking that the world could be a great place if we're small pockets of people. And I think Scotland would function tremendously well on its own.
Gary, you're deluded. You're not really thinking about this at all. You have to think in terms of children, because that's what the human race acts like. Malevolent children, and where there are gangs in the playground, and if you're not part of a gang, then you're going to get picked on. You're going to get singled out, and you're going to come up with the thin end of the wedge. No, wait, that's not right. The thick end of the wedge. No, that's not right. The short straw. There you go. You're going to come up with the short straw with no power or heft behind you. You haven't got a chance against China and America. I mean, you think that we go to, when we actually get down to doing a huge and tremendous trade deal with the President of the United States of America, you think we're going to come out a winner? Do you get the news where you are? Of course we're not. He's going to bully us into doing whatever makes him look and feel good. He's all about looking and feeling good.
Touch, feel, that's what I do.
Yeah, we got no chance compared to the might of America, nor China, nor any of these places. Only if we get together as a gang for the EU, for instance, do we have the kind of power that we can wield to get us a good deal from the likes of China. I mean, you think China's going to do us a favour? None of these countries are going to do us a favour. They're going to extract from us the absolute maximum they can. And if we're on our own, then they'll be able to just bully us like the tiny, insignificant nation that we are. But if we're part of a giant trading bloc, then they will wield a bigger stick than we ever can. I mean, that just makes sense. Of course it does, Gary. Yeah, I'm 5 minutes past the break, but I've got to go. Well, not but I've got to go. That's the reason I've got to go. 0345 6060 973. Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC. Nick Abbott on LBC.
Right, so what are we doing?
This says, Nick, people are setting off fireworks so early it's driving me nuts and keeps making my cat run up the Christmas tree. Yeah, I've seen Christmas trees out already. I mean, in shops and in museums, they're bristling with Christmas already. It's just too early. I mean, it really is. It's too early. The supermarkets don't know whether to sell Halloween stuff or Christmas stuff, so they put them all next to each other on the shelves. Make your minds up. Not yet. December. Come on. We got November to go. You've gone off too quick. Cumbria, Vishal.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hi. I wanted to know, if what you would think the world would be like if Google Street View was live stream.
The streets would be full of people pouting at passing cars.
Don't you think it would be an expansion to the internet?
An expansion to the internet? What does that mean?
Expansion to the internet.
Ah, well, you should have said that. Okay, thanks a lot, Vishal. See, now that's a perfect example of clarity. He said, would it mean the expansion of the internet? And I said, what does expansion of the internet means? And the answer was, of course, expansion of the internet. I feel stupid for having asked the question in the first place. Good work, Vishal. Keep thinking. Dave says, on a serious note, when you pass away, will you meet God? Will you fall at his feet? I'm awe. In awe, maybe? In awe, and he will remind you of the words of Ken from... Okay, stop going on about Ken from Westminster. Beverly in East Yorkshire. Hello, Mike. That didn't work. Let me try it again. Yes, Mike.
Would you agree that Boris Johnson is self-serving, narcissistic, a good orator, and only looking to serve his own ends?
Yes.
You would? Okay. Well, if you look in history at people who've done this,
Hitler.
Well, you said that. That was my last one. You still in my thing.
Okay, then, right.
He was going to be the last person I was going to mention.
Yeah.
But when you look through history, when people have actually used that sort of tactic to get through things,
yeah, Hitler.
In most recent history, you look at Berlusconi in Italy.
Right.
He was kicking around for 20 years. Italy is an industrialised, modern, if you like, European nation.
Well, kind of.
He's dragged them to the seat, but if you look around the world, you look at Mao Zedong, every Soviet leader since Lenin, Mugabe, Idi Amin, Gaddafi, all the rest of them, the population are the people who've suffered. Okay, they may have ended up really suffering themselves, but the populations are the ones that have suffered. Why are we tolerating Boris Johnson as our leader?
Because the trains may run on time? Thanks for the question, Mike. There you go, Boris. Hitler.
Here we go. Okay.
No, as long as you don't say anything controversial. Thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. Sunita says, what's threepence? Don't know if I've spelled it right, but my phone didn't recognise it. Yes, you have spelt it right, which rather implies that you do know what it means. I think you're disseminating misinformation in order to make yourself seem younger. A threepenny bit was my favourite coin. It was, well, no, that's the sixpence was my favourite coin. It was just so perfectly formed, very, very small. Small enough to slip through the hole in the pocket of your trousers. People don't have holes in the pockets of their trousers anymore because people don't carry change around. I don't even leave the house with any money anymore. It doesn't even occur to me to leave the house with money, which is probably a big mistake, huge. Because when the internet goes off the air, that's not an accurate way of saying it, but when the internet falls flat on its face, then money will come into its own. Boy, will we miss it when it's gone. It's bound to fall off the grid at some point, the internet. I mean, it's worked perfectly up to now, more or less. Have you seen the internet?
Disgusting.
When it breaks, there's going to be riots in the streets in about 10 seconds. Nobody will be able to find their way home, for a start, without your sat-nav. No one will have any idea where they are. You won't be able to pay for anything. You won't be able to upload pictures of yourself to the World Wide Web or send images of what you've just eaten to people who don't care, looking for likes. What will you do when you don't get likes? God, people are going to lose their minds. I'm amazed it's worked perfectly up to now, aren't you? I mean, nothing else does. Electricity goes off every now and again. Sometimes the gas will break because there's a puncture in the line in the road. Some bloke will come or woman. No, it's never a woman. It's always a bloke will come and turn it off. So everything, your satellite signal will disappear in stormy weather. Everything breaks except the internet. Isn't that remarkable? It's bound to break at some point. And then what? Craig says, the Brexit situation, it feels like court process. The sentence has been passed, i.e. leave. Now we're in the appeal phase. All I hear is when somebody says Brexit is the elevator music, the girl from Ipanema. Yeah, please hold. Steve in Manchester says, Nick Abbott, your views on this country is bordering on treachery. Your views on this country is bordering on treachery. This country could stand on its own without the Scotland and Ireland nonsense. I don't think we can. I mean, I don't think we can prosper if we're just on our own. I just don't think that's the way that the world is going. The way the world is going is countries are getting together in order to be stronger together, to use a familiar phrase, because there are bullies lurching around the playground, lumbering around the playground, people who aren't very nice people.
Donald Trump is not a nice person.
And you've got to have power because it's the only thing they respect. Donald Trump is not going to do us a favour by giving us a huge trade deal. He just isn't. He's an ocean-going, nasty person, and he's only going to do something that benefits him personally, be it politically or financially. There's absolutely no way he's going to do us a favour. That's not how the world works. Countries don't do each other favours. They try to extract as much profit as they possibly can, just like people do. So you have to be as powerful as you possibly can, and being an utterly insignificant offshore tax racket is not going to do us any favours. People will just take liberties and take advantage. But with the heft, the might of the EU behind us, well, then we got a bigger stick. Unless you know otherwise, in which case you must correct me. 0345 6060 973. Friday and Saturday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC. It's 11:30. The news headlines with Andy Ivey.
Hello. Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Listen to him. He knows everything.
Simon in Windsor says, I was in my local co-op today and they had advent calendars for sale. There's another 35 days till December, so what are the chances of it lasting till then? Do they think we're idiots? And this says, having visited Iceland, I've never seen happier people. Presumably the country, not the shop. I've never seen happier people than in Iceland, he says. Basic life, but utter appreciation for the land that surrounds them. What rubbish. People in Iceland are earning tons of money. I just looked up the average earnings in Iceland. The average income for Icelanders 16 years or older is 60,000 US dollars. That's 51,000 euros. That's the average income. The average income is like double ours. Basic life, my eye. What are you talking about? Let's have Clacton. Hello, Billy.
Hello, mate. Hello, Nick. Yeah, your caller Gary earlier on. Yeah, Brexit here, proving once again why Brexit ain't worked. Calling Remainers losers. Brexiteers have got to convince us Remainers that we're winners as well, yeah?
Everybody's lost. Everybody is going to lose from there, apart from the millionaires and the billionaires who are behind this racket in the first place.
Absolutely right, Nick. I agree. Now, the next little thing that he said was, us Remainers clinging to our comfort blanket. Well, no, Nick. I love driving over to Europe in my car, towing my caravan, staying on campsites in France. We're all brothers and sisters together. I meet Dutch, I meet French, I meet Spanish, I meet Hungarians.
With the money
we're all Europeans together. I love it, yeah?
With the money that you spent on your caravan, wouldn't it be better to just buy a hotel room wherever you go? Because then you have...
because if you're not a caravaner, Nick, you won't know. It's like there's nothing like it. You get on these old campsites down in the south of France. It's lovely, mate. But I'll tell you what. In my working life, 'cause I'm retired now, I was a continental truck driver, and I was driving down to Germany since the 1980s. Driving down to Germany, driving to Holland, driving to Denmark. And you know what? We may all speak different languages, but we're all the same, mate. We're all Europeans. We're all the same, yeah?
Right. Well, some of us have mayonnaise on chips, but, you know, that is unacceptable, isn't it?
I'll tell you what, something else, Nick, talking of mayonnaise on chips. Years ago in Belgium, I used to live out the old friteurs. You know what a friteur is? You get your sausage and your chips and piles of mayonnaise, the van that sells sausage and chips, yeah?
Right, that sounds horrible.
It's lovely, yeah, wonderful. Friteurs in Belgium.
Yeah, like I said,
Belgium,
that sounds
mate, look out
lovely.
for friteurs.
Right,
yeah?
okay, I absolutely will not do that. Thanks a lot, Billy. 0345 6060 973. Sausage and chips with mayonnaise? What kind of perversion is that? I bet they don't even put it on the side. I bet they squirt it all over. Jim in Stain says, I agree with Brexiters that the vote in the first referendum should be respected. In 1975, we voted to remain. Oh, I see. Right, I get it. James says, always well organised, but can't find any Easter eggs in any shops. What does the organised part mean? Huh?
You've already been on, I'm afraid.
Oh, he's talking to somebody else. You can only be on once. Who's that?
Hi.
Who's that?
See you later.
Who was that?
Hello.
Who was that?
It's callers you've already been on trying to get on
Well,
again.
you can't get on again. You can only call once. Blimey. We're doing a lot of very important stuff over here. Ian says, what are you on about? Why would we want to be part of a big bloc? What on earth can that do to help anyone? Are you not listening to anything I'm saying? You want to be a part of a big bloc because that gives you power and heft to get deals that you would otherwise not be able to wangle. I'm sorry to have used the W word. Let's have Colchester. Hello, Dominic.
Hi. I kind of wanted to put the case that you don't need to be part of a big bloc. So I'm looking at a survey by CNBC, and it's ranked the countries that are doing best. And I'm just looking at it.
Best.
Yeah,
By what measure best?
Good. By a whole bunch of different measures, which they then have created some rather strange formula and then give it a score. So happiness and income and life expectancy and a whole bunch of stuff. So I agree, it's a bit arbitrary.
So
but
Denmark, Sweden, Finland, Holland, Canada.
I'm going to pick larger countries. So Switzerland, Japan, Canada, Australia, Korea. So the point is there's lots of countries. Interestingly enough, the UK is ranked number 5 on that list. I agree. I'm sure I can find another list where the UK doesn't do so well. But the point is that there is no relationship between being part of a big trading bloc and doing well in the world. In fact, I would say, this is just my belief, that there's a slight negative correlation. And the reason there's a negative correlation is when the European Union tries to negotiate trade agreements, it has a problem, and the problem is it has so many vested interests that it takes for years and years and years for it to actually negotiate anything. When you
trade deals take years and years and years. All of them do.
Actually, when you look at countries like Singapore and New Zealand,
Singapore is not a country. It's a city. It isn't. It's a city-state.
Okay, but the point is that European is particularly bad, and lots of other places don't do it.
It is not particularly bad. It's just as bad as everybody else. Trade deals are not simple things to negotiate. They're incredibly complex because regardless of how many people you are negotiating on behalf of, there's always vested interests. In this country, you've got the vested interests of the car manufacturers versus the agricultural sector versus the banking sector versus the services industry as far as hotels and restaurants and so on goes, and then the machine makers and the chemical makers. Everybody's got a say about what they want from a trade deal. And you give me a bit of this here and we'll give you a bit of that over there. It takes years.
England has far less things that it cares about than the European Union
That's
as a whole.
Absolute nonsense. We care about the exact same things.
We don't.
Of course we do.
So, for example, take the whole thing about brands, where brands having regional recognition. I forgot what it's called. We don't really care about that in the UK. That's a
yes,
big
we
European
do.
thing.
Yeah, Melton Mowbray pies, cheddar cheese.
No, but we would
Cornish
not make that
Cornish
a condition.
pasties. Of course we do.
We would not make that condition of a trade negotiation. The European Union ranks that in the top 5 things
of course it would be. All of those things, everything that I just mentioned are one of those product of origin or whatever they call them. I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah. But the thing is, we don't rank it as a high thing. So we don't.
How do you know?
Because when we were negotiating with the European Union, that was one of the 5 things that they put into the sort of mandated thing.
I'm sure we were insistent on it as well. There was a case just recently about Cornish pasties. It was in the news for weeks. It's true.
I beg to disagree.
Well, I don't care whether you disagree or not. It happens to be a fact. Cornish pasties.
No, I agree that Cornish pasties care about it, but it's not something that our government would care. We're quite happy.
That's completely incorrect. So the government's going to toss the rights of the Cornish pasty industry out there.
Makers.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
That's absolute nonsense.
This is
the reason why trade deals take so long. It's because everybody's got a say and everybody wants a bit, and you give me a 10% off this, and I'll give you 5% off that, and it's just it's trade talk, and it goes on forever. Trade deals can take 10 years.
I think yes, the European Union and us in it can take 10 years. And there were, I'm sure I read about recently it happening with New Zealand, and the whole point of the article was making the comparison of how long it had taken.
You've got to be kidding me. New Zealand, what do they export in New Zealand? Sheep.
Sheep.
Exactly. What else? Name one thing that they export from New Zealand.
Butter, cheese.
All right. Apart from the dairy industry and lamb, they got nothing. Scenery. That's all they got, and you've got to go there to enjoy it.
They've got a big film industry.
Big film. Yeah, but you've got to go there to enjoy that too. That's what I mean by scenery.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Anyway, I've made my point.
Okay. Good luck. Thanks a lot, Dominic. 0345 6060 973. I think I'll score that as a win. Hey, the podcast is out. My most recent podcast has joined the dozens, many, must be up to about 50 now that are up there on the World Wide Wait. It's the best of this show. Some of my favourite calls from this programme. It's a half an hour of concentrated amusement. I think you'll love it. It's called the Nick Abbot Habit. If you download the Global Player app from your favourite app store, then you'll find that in amongst all the radio stations that we do, there's a large selection of podcasts there. Go to the podcast section, do a search on my name, and two things will come up: the whole show and the best of podcast, which is called the Nick Abbot Habit. If you don't do things like that on apps, then point your pewter at an internet near you and ask for it by name. The Nick Abbot Habit.
Nick Ferrari at
Supply.
Leading Britain's conversation. LBC with Nick Abbott.
What we got here is a failure to communicate.
Yes, I'm trying to communicate with Chris in Isleworth. Chris.
Oh, hello, Nick. Yeah. Yeah, no, you're talking about Ribble and South Ribble?
Yes.
Happiness and Unhappiness Index?
Right.
Yeah, I used to live right by the River Ribble in Lancashire.
The River Ribble.
I think I can give you an explanation for it.
The River Ribble.
The River Ribble, yeah.
Okay.
And South Ribble is Preston area.
Wow, say no more.
Well, yeah. And just south of Preston you have Leyland, which suffered a lot when Leyland Daft closed, so sort of post-industrial.
Right.
But if you go up the Ribble
itself,
it's absolutely beautiful.
So Ribble Valley is just where the scenery is, and South Ribble is
where all the post-industrial is.
Right.
But that's the thing about Lancashire. I grew up in a mill town in Lancashire, and it's sort of quite depressed, run down, but the countryside is never far from you, and that's one good thing about it.
Yeah, well, I lived in Leeds for 6 months, and you just drive for 5 minutes in any direction. It's absolutely staggeringly beautiful.
Well, I could walk out my back door, go on a footpath, and you could walk to Scotland if you wanted to, if you had the inclination.
Well, I could walk to Scotland from here.
Well, and you wouldn't see any towns. It'd just be all farmland. And
right.
Yes. Yeah, no, it's to be recommended. They call it the Cotswolds of the North up there.
Right. Well, just that entire... Well, everywhere you go in England and Scotland and Wales is utterly beautiful the moment you get out of a town.
Yes.
I think that's pretty much true everywhere.
Yeah, so just phone up for no real reason then, haven't I?
Okay, excellent work. Thanks a lot, Chris.
Okay.
0345 6060 973. David Norfolk says, A New Hope was just called Star Wars until they made the prequel trilogy. Then they had to call it something, so they called it Star Wars A New Hope. But maybe you already knew that. I did not already know that. Is that true? I thought Star Wars was always called A New Hope, which I thought was genius, because nobody had ever heard of Star Wars before, so people were keen to know what that meant. But they only called it A New Hope once they made the prequel trilogy. I find that hard to believe. Is that true? Jack says, residents of Iceland do earn far more money than people do in most countries around the world, but the cost of living is very high, so it balances itself out. Well, not that much it don't. The cost of living is not double or triple what it is here. Reykjavik is by far the most expensive city I've ever visited, he said. It costs 30 quid for 2 sandwiches and a drink. Well, it can cost you 30 quid for 2 sandwiches and a drink here, if you're going to the wrong place. It can cost you 300 quid for 2 sandwiches and a drink in Venice, if you're going to the wrong place. Jimmy in Colchester says, is this guy really calling from Clacton, and is he a Remainer? Which guy? I thought everyone in Clacton-on-Sea loved Nigel and hates the EU, says Jimmy. I don't remember who you're talking about. And Paddy says, I live in the Ribble Valley. Oh, well, here you go. Another one. I live in the Ribble Valley, and I doubt that those here don't want a second referendum. Is there a link between happiness and not wanting another referendum? I think there's a link between happiness and not wanting to leave, or not wanting to change your life to the point that you want to leave the group that you're in. I mean, that's fairly obvious, isn't it? I think there's a link between happiness and being or voting Remain. That seems logical, doesn't it? Unless I've said something very controversial, in which case you must correct me. Let's have Wandsworth. Hello, Doug.
Hey, Nick. How you doing?
Good, thanks.
I have a great Yiddish word for you.
Yeah.
Oy vey.
Oy vey.
Oy vey. That's how long I've had. Having to wait this long has been like going through.
Are you kidding me? You've only waited 13 minutes.
30. Nick. I have hyperkinesis. So to me, it's like 75 days.
Right. What's hyperkinesis?
Yeah. Time moves much faster for me.
Oh, does it? Right.
No, seriously.
Okay, then.
Okay.
Well, is that an actual medical condition? Time moves faster for you?
No, you're supposed to play the beginning of Pink Floyd's Time.
Oh, yeah, well, I ain't got it.
Nick, I wanted to come up with a grammatical question, right? Is we, were we, was we, or are we a democracy?
Yes. Well, kind of. Depends what the question is.
You had a previous person who used, I believe, the incorrect adverb for what he was trying to describe.
Yeah.
So I'm giving you 4 different alternatives and asking which one is right.
Oh, that was the question.
Yeah.
Which is correct, rather than answering the question as it's stated. You want me to say
Nick,
which is the correct...
me, I'm not a bright guy.
Which is the correct way of posing the question?
Yes, but...
Right. Ask me again. Are we, is we, were we...
Were we, or was we?
Yeah, definitely.
A democracy. Nick, come on,
Yeah.
help me out, yeah.
We was, is, and will be evermore. Until we aren't.
No.
Until we...
It can't be all of those.
Until we ain't.
It can be one. It can only be one, because you've got to be talking in the present tense.
Yeah.
And were is past tense, was is singular.
Well, it's also past tense.
Yes. So that can't be right. So is
Yeah.
is singular, can't be right.
Right.
Are must be the only one that's correct.
There you go. Answered your own question. If only you'd
Nick.
thought about this before you called.
But Nick, I have, and that's why is everybody fighting? And that's why I'm saying, oy vey.
Yeah, why can't people just get along? I posted the cutest little pussycat stroking a bird on Twitter today. If you want to see the cutest little GIF, don't call me and say it's a GIF, because it's a GIF. People have been saying that wrong ever since that bloke invented it.
Correct, it's a jiffy.
It's a GIF, yeah. And it was a little pussycat who was stroking a bird. It was the cutest thing. See, now, why can't people get along like that? I posted it on my Twitter feed.
Poked its head off.
Huh?
No. That was just a sideline. Nick, my brother in New York, Shelso, says that for the first time in ages, they're feeling relief in New York because we have a worse president. I mean, we have a worse prime minister.
No, that's not true.
President.
No, that's completely untrue. Not worse.
No, de facto. New York Times.
De facto. New York Times. What, you're talking about the failing New York Times? Yeah, well, if that's what they said, then they're completely incorrect in every respect.
Come on, Nick. They is.
They is, yes. They is completely incorrect. Yeah.
In every respect.
All right. Okay, thanks a lot, Doug. I've got no idea what that call was about. At all. But it fits right in. Declan says, why can't we agree a deal to leave the EU? God help us when we have to negotiate our own trade deals with other countries. That's right. This is supposed to be the easy part. I mean, do you trust this government to actually engage with other countries to organise a trade deal?
No.
I mean, the EU How many enemies have we made in the European Union? I mean, the grief that we have caused them. Do they want to do us any favours? Of course not. So the only thing that makes sense is that we're going to be a low-tax, low-regulation economy. And the government is making pains to say, oh, no, that's not our plan at all. And I think that perhaps they protest too much. Because the money that's behind this, the billionaires, aren't really in the business of doing favours for the little people, not leprechauns. I mean, when has a billionaire ever been interested in the fate of the common man? They don't care about you. You are like ants to them. All they care about is making more money, because apparently having more than you could ever spend is not enough. I think it must warp your mind, becoming that rich, because they leave the country. They leave the country that they're supposed to be patriots of. They're so patriotic that they want to dictate the direction of the country, and then they leave it so that they can keep more of their money. And they go and live in some built-up hellhole like Monaco, where there's nothing to do. Or Singapore. Or some place like that. So the only thing that they're interested in is money, and the way that they can get more money is to remove the rights of the people that work for them. So that has to be where this is going, to make us a low-tax economy. And before you start rubbing your hands with glee at the prospect of paying less tax, that's not going to do you any favours. A low-tax economy only benefits the rich, because they are paid proportionately, or would be invited to. They don't actually in any great number, because they leave as soon as the tax bill comes in. But they would be benefiting greatly in a low-tax economy, much more so than ordinary dopes who pay taxes like you and me. So that must be where we're going, because that's the only thing that makes any sense. Because this Brexit malarkey is being bankrolled by millionaires and billionaires. I mean, it's not small people making small donations. It's shady people who live in, hollowed out volcanoes. Those are the ones that are funding all of this, and the only thing that they're interested in is money, and the way to make money is, or to keep more of it, is to pay less in tax and to strip the rights of the workers that actually prop up your business. That has to be where this is going, and the government is saying, oh no, that's not our plan at all. Goodness me, no, why would anybody think that? Well, what else then? And Kwasi Kwarteng came out and said pretty much just that. No, of course not. Why would anybody think that? Well, the reason people might think that is because a government-leaked report said exactly that. I might come to that in a minute. And, of course, we still haven't talked about the elephant in the room. 0345 6060 973, Friday, Saturday night at 10, Nick Abbot, LBC.
On the Ivy.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Some nobody.
I really like you. Do you like me?
Yeah, that was that poor Hassenhögen-Flögen-Blögen, wasn't it? By the way, a Hassenhögen-Flögen-Blögen is the thing that you screw together a kitchen cabinet from IKEA. Jim says, not so. George Lucas imagined a series of films, but only after the first one became a massive success did it become obvious that he'd get to make all of them. So new prints of the film going to the cinemas had the Episode 4, A New Hope, You Lost, Get Over It, added to the title. Right. James from Wolverhampton says, your new podcast sounded like it was recorded in a bathroom on your phone. Did you wash your hands and phone after recording? I know it does. Yeah, my most recent podcast, I did the links between the clips on my phone because I forgot to do it when I was here. Because in my defence, it's because last Saturday I did a 4-hour show because whoever was supposed to be on afterwards, they were ill or sick, or they just couldn't be bothered. Can't be bothered, they said. Who was it?
Richard Spur.
Right. He couldn't be bothered.
He couldn't be bothered.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he couldn't be bothered. So I did a 4-hour show, and then we stuck on the best of Steve Allen. But so I forgot to do because I do it after this show. I know what clips are going to be in, so I'll just do the bit between the clips, or set them up. And so I had to do it on my phone at home. And I know it does sound like I'm in the bathroom, but I'm not. Trust me, I'm in my study. It's just I did it in front of my computer screen, so the sound was bouncing off it, and it sounded like I was in the loo, but I wasn't. Believe me. And News Junkie says, Nick, your caller was wrong. The one that I was talking to just before the news says if time moves faster for him, then 13 minutes would not feel like 75 days, as your caller suggested. 13 minutes would perhaps feel like 30 seconds, which is completely correct in every respect. It's just a jump to the left and then a step to the right. With your hands on your hips, you bring your knees in tight, and it's the pelvic thrust that really drives you insane.
Disgusting.
Let's do the time warp again. Let's have Lewisham. Hello, Barry.
Hello there. Good.
Hello there.
Hello. Doesn't it really hurt your head having to explain Brexit to people over and over again?
I just go on.
Understand it?
I'm on autopilot.
Affirmative. It's infuriating. I looked at it and I'm thinking, well, what's going on here? And I realised it's an illusion, isn't it? It's a magic trick. That's what it is. You know when an illusionist is doing their trick.
Yeah.
They make you look at the trick, not the trickster. You know. So keep looking at the trick. So the latest trick here is the general election. Look at the trick. Do you know what I mean? What purpose the general election? Well, so that he doesn't have to explain what he's doing. That's all, you know.
I can't imagine what he thinks he's going to get out of a general election. He's not going to get a majority. That's just not going to happen. People may not vote for Labour in any great numbers, but they're going to all swarm to the Lib Dems and the Nigel Party.
I'm a nutcase.
Yeah.
That's where they're going to go.
It will just split the vote, and it's just like, and it's even down to the fact that people believe themselves to be Leavers. I really hate it because they made me a Remainer. I was never a Remainer. I didn't have a label. You know, I wasn't labelled in the first place as a person, and then they decided to become Leavers.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even them that were Leavers; it was the campaigners that were Leavers. Those same rich people you're talking about, they're the Leavers. Yeah,
they're snake oil salesmen. They're like second-hand car salesmen, oily characters to a man, and all men, by the way, no women.
Yeah,
isn't that curious?
Of course. Yeah, the rich guys and those sort of people there.
And it's become like a religious belief. Nobody can be shaken from their previously cemented belief.
And it's like their interests are not aligned. The rich people have one set of interests, and they've convinced these people who believe themselves to be Leavers.
Amazing.
That we have the same interests.
I just don't get it. When has a billionaire ever expressed any interest in your tiny, pathetic, insignificant life?
No, but they could have done it over and over again. They have never done so, and now they're talking about if they've taken guaranteed workers' rights out of the bill. All right, it's a guarantee. I was speaking to a guy yesterday, and he was saying, you don't think that our government would ever take away our workers' rights, do you?
What a sense of humour.
I was like, mate...
They can't wait to do that, I bet.
They did it a couple of years ago, and they only went so far because the European law stopped them going any further.
Yeah.
So when they increased the probation period to 2 years, so you have to be in a job, kowtowing to your boss, being very, very quiet for 2 years. They did that, and then they made it more difficult to you be in a union. I remember them saying over and over again, it's too difficult to hire and fire. That's what they said, it must be easier to fire. And people shouldn't be able to take people to tribunals for spurious claims against their bosses.
Yes, you should shut up and do your work, and then and go home and leave us alone.
Yeah, and if you say anything, then you're out in a week. You're
fired.
Or on the day, maybe. Do you know what I mean? Or you just don't get any more hours.
It seems impossible for me to believe that is not the plan.
It's clear because they've said so. They have actually said so on a number of occasions Boris said it in a speech the other day, if I remember correctly, that, you know, we need, what was it at the conference? We need a low tax, low regulation, low, you know how he likes to put it, low tax, low regulation. That's what he said.
Yeah, and a low tax, low regulation economy does not only works for those who are the haves, not the have-nots.
Yeah, because as I explained to another guy, well, hold on, you don't pay that much tax in comparison. It's not you that is going to have a tax cut.
No.
It's the guy at the top. Do you know what I mean? Are you happy to be paying a marginal tax rate that's higher than him so that you can pay for him to be on the road? Like, why shouldn't he pay more of his money in tax?
But you're wasting your time, Barry. People have got their fingers in their ears and they're humming loudly to themselves in case they hear anything that they may disagree with. Yeah, listen, I'm going to have to go, but thanks a lot, mate. Okay, so we're talking about this quasi fellow who said that reports that the government could cut workers' rights after Brexit were way exaggerated. That's the quote. They're way exaggerated, like he's a surfer dude.
Groovy.
Oh, they're totally way exaggerated, man. It's like totally too much exaggeration. They're way exaggerated, which could be political speech for completely accurate. He said, we built a coalition. 19 Labour MPs have come with us and voted for a second reading of the withdrawal agreement bill. It wouldn't make any sense at all to dilute workers' rights in building that coalition to land the bill. No, it wouldn't. But once they've landed the bill, once we're out, then it wouldn't make any sense to not dilute workers' rights. Isn't that what it's all about? He said about this idea that the government really want to make us a low-tax, low-regulation economy. He says, I don't think that's remotely accurate. I think it's way exaggerated. I don't know where this story is coming from. Well, the government is where it's coming from. Like a comedian, he's set up a line for us. You don't know where it's coming from? It's behind you is where it's coming from. It's like one of those Halloween films. The call is coming from within the house. Kwasi said, we, the government, have said we will be better than our word. We've said our ambition on securing workers' rights will be stronger than the provision of the bill. But you know what? As Boris Johnson is famously not as good as his word, why on earth should we believe anything that the government says? I mean, you know the phrase, fool us once, shame on you. Fool us twice, we're a bunch of numpties. And the story about this came from the left-wing fanatical communist rag, the Financial Times, under the headline, Hopes Rise Over Post-Brexit Workers' Rights and Regulations. And I don't think that it's hard to fathom what they mean by that, other than, for them, hopes are rising that post-Brexit workers' rights and regulations will be diminished. Because they are that is the publication that is read by the management, not the workers. So the FT is hopeful about workers' rights because they will benefit the people who read the Financial Times if they are diminished. The British government is planning to diverge from the EU on regulation and workers' rights after Brexit, says the Financial Times, despite its pledge to maintain a level playing field in Prime Minister Boris Johnson's deal, according to an official paper shared by ministers this week. I think it was leaked, wasn't it? The government paper drafted by the Department for Exiting the EU, with input from Downing Street, stated that the UK was open to significant divergence, even though Brussels is insisting on comparable regulatory provisions. That's the Financial Times. The Guardian, on the other hand, I'll sum it up for you. They said... Oh, no! Yeah, in a word. 2 words. The Guardian, on the other hand, is more fretful about this potential for a change in workers' rights. It says the government has denied it has misled Parliament and that it is seeking to tear up provisions for workers' rights after Brexit. A leaked document said the way the political declaration, the agreement setting out the aims of the future trade negotiations between the UK and the EU, had drafted workers' rights and environmental protection commitments, left room for interpretation. It reportedly boasted that UK negotiators successfully resisted the inclusion of UK-wide level playing field rules in the previous deal negotiated by Theresa May's team, allowing Britain to compete against EU members by possibly watering down rights, which is the exact opposite of what the government is telling us it said. The document, which has not been shared with parliamentarians or the public, goes to the heart of Labour's concerns about workers' rights and environmental rights, which could be tampered with if the Tories were in power after Brexit. That's got to be the plan. Otherwise, why go through all this? Why would billionaires spend so much money trying to get us out of the EU if the plan wasn't for them to pay less tax and for them to slash workers' rights and environmental rights in order to make more money? It doesn't make any sense otherwise. I mean, it would be surprising if that wasn't the plan, wouldn't it? Why would billionaires be so keen on all this if they weren't going to get something from it? And the only thing that billionaires seem to be interested in is more money. It's like a disease with them. So our future looks like a low-tax economy which proportionately favours the rich at the expense of the rest of us, and low regulations which also benefits the rich at the expense of the rest of us. I mean, if it's a low-tax economy, then we'll have less to spend on the services that most of us rely on. But if you're rich, you can get private health treatment. The rich can protect themselves where the police can't afford to. They can insulate themselves from the consequences of a low-tax economy, while we lot are stuck with whatever we're given. I mean, if that's not the plan, I'd be amazed. And all those billionaires that have decamped to low-tax jurisdictions, they want to come back, but still not pay tax. I mean, a year in Singapore or Monaco must seem like an eternity. What can you do with your money over there? They want to live in London and pay tax like a Monacan. The shadow Brexit minister, Jenny Chapman, said, that should be a pop quiz. Shadow Brexit minister. Anyone? Anyone at all? No? Jenny Chapman said these documents confirm our worst fears. Boris Johnson's Brexit is a blueprint for a deregulated economy which will see vital rights and protections torn up. It's also clear Boris Johnson was misleading Parliament earlier this week. Misleading! Liar! Under his proposals, this Conservative government has no intention of maintaining high standards after we leave the EU. And these fears are particularly felt in Berlin, as speculation mounts that Johnson is preparing to reform the UK into a low-tax, lightly regulated economy described as Singapore-on-Thames. Good grief. But not really like Singapore at all. I mean, that's just a city-state that does banking and import-exports. Ours is a highly complex economy with all sorts of revenue streams. But the one thing that prevents the super-rich from becoming even more super-rich is the rights of the workers that prop up their wealth, and the tax that they can't avoid paying even with a building full of highly paid accounting geniuses. But sweep all that away and Bob's your uncle. And it's those poor dopes who do pay taxes that can wait for all that trickle-down economics to do us a favour. Our shiny upturned faces, waiting for it to trickle down all over us. Like Bob Marley, we can wait for that in vain. I don't want to wait in vain for your love.
Rock and roll!
0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday and Saturday night at 10, Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC.
Right.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet @LBC. Text 84850.
Everything is going extremely well.
You bet your life it is. We still haven't talked about the elephant in the room yet. I'll get to that in a minute. Ian in London says, your caller Dominic tried to demonstrate that the UK can do it alone, citing his list, where we are at number 5. Did he forget that we are currently an EU member? Yeah, I was going to say that, but we got into shouting about, I've got no idea. Just a little bit too much shouting, and I forgot to say that, yeah. At number 5, we are still currently an EU member. Don't forget that. Richard in Carmarthen says, isn't Ribble River the title of a David Bowie song? Which one? I mean, I know you're being amusing, but which David Bowie song sounds like Ribble River?
I don't know many David Bowie songs, I'm afraid.
What?
I mean, I know a few.
No, well, you're backing down immediately. That's terrible. Awful. All I said was, and then he instantly backed down. He's my favourite artist. Hartford. Hello, Ron.
Yeah, hi. Good evening.
Ron.
Yeah.
Oh, rebel, ribble, river. Right, okay. I get it. Rebel. Down. Yes, Ron.
Firstly, yeah, I agree with you, and with.
What about the whole rebel issue? Yeah.
No. I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about the economy and living in the European Union, and there's not much actually to argue about it or to explain. We're just going to be, it's just going to be much worse. We're going to be much worse off outside of the EU, and that's just a fact. What I was just, I'm trying to put myself into the shoes of what you call Brexiteers, even though you've just, I think you've got two categories. One of them are the very rich, as you've just said, the billionaires and etc. But it's not just billionaires; there's also millionaires and also some people who are quite wealthy. And on the other end, end of the spectrum, and those, I think, there's millions and millions, which they actually, for the first time in their lives, they actually, their vote, which maybe, by the way, it was their first vote ever,
probably
counted.
Not.
I don't know. Many of them,
well,
I think,
maybe.
I think the turnout was 77%, I think, or nearly 80%.
So that does make sense. Yeah, people left Hunger City. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yes. And okay. Now that you're saying city, okay, I'm trying to make it's not an argument, but I'm trying to understand many of them, millions of them actually, and especially in the north, for example, and kind of blame ourselves for that result over decades.
Well, they don't blame not you, Ron. It's just
I wasn't the prime minister, okay, so I can't blame myself. Yes, but what I'm saying, okay, I'll give you an example. I'm not sure that many people know that, but to see how we and I'm not ashamed to say that I do consider myself kind of financially based. Okay, it's not. I don't think. I worked hard for this, and I pay a lot of taxes for it. And it's going to hurt me a lot also when we leave the EU. But I think, I think. Okay, I'll give you the fact. The fact is that we have the biggest gap in GDP per city between the first city and the second city in the whole of Europe. Now this usually goes.
Okay, well that is an interesting statistic. Yes, that's probably actually right.
And it's sad.
We're more concentrated in one city. The wealth in this country is more concentrated in one place than in any other country. Well, certainly in
Europe.
Maybe the world. Yeah. I mean, can you think of another country that concentrates its wealth to such a degree in just one city?
No, actually, I'm trying to think. No, even in China, which I do work in China a lot. Yes,
well, definitely not in China. Right. No, definitely not China. Yeah. So, so people do have a point that and hoping for the best from a Conservative government who has been in power for, I think, twice as long as the Labour Party since the Second World War. If you're putting your faith in them to do you a favour now, well, if they're going to do it now, then how come they haven't done it already?
No. I don't think. Oh, okay. Okay. For this, I can give you two answers.
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the other people that we're discussing.
But I'm trying to put myself in their shoes.
Okay.
So you can have two answers. One, the first one is, I simply don't care. All I want.
Well, no, I don't.
All I want is revenge for the decades that you didn't care about me.
Yes, that's right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, yes, and.
But that's not the reason why. That is not the reason why they voted, because they were told that if you do this, then your life will be better. That's what they were told.
Really? Do you really think?
I know that that's the case.
Do you really believe they thought their lives would be better?
They were told that their lives would be better.
that.
They became fans of certain individuals, and they were told, they wrote it large on the side of buses, just do this and your life will be better. And they did, and they're still. That's the part of the reason for all this furious anger, is because they're waiting for the part where their life gets better. And it's bloomin' Ramonas who are holding this process up. If only they'll just get out, then they'll be able to walk upon the promised land. Instead of their red mutant eyes gazing down on Hunger City, where fleas the size of rats sucked on rats the size of cats, and 10,000 peopleoids split into small tribes coveting the highest of the sterile skyscrapers, and so on.
Rock and roll!
I've got to go, Ron, because you're just draining. I mean, you seem like a nice fellow, but you're just draining the life out of me. Stephen in Cheltenham says, Nick, your previous texter is movie illiterate. Star Wars was renamed A New Hope when it was re-released in 1981, a year after The Empire Strikes Back was released. Also, Return of the Jedi was originally called Revenge of the Jedi. I can keep these facts up all night. It's probably why I have no friends. Yeah, well, we're not interested in your so-called facts. Anthony in Greenwich says, try to pretend you're not reading from a pre-arranged auto cue. Please announce Germany calling before you broadcast. Well, I was reading. I wasn't pretending I wasn't reading. I was reading it. This says, the reason I want to leave the EU is because decisions are made without the people of the EU voting. The reason I want to leave the EU is because decisions are made without the people of the EU voting. We have no say. Oh, don't be an idiot. Of course we do. Crying out loud. Do you mean you personally have no say? Well, you personally have no say in any of the decisions that are made in this country. The common market we joined has become a large state. We were told we'll get a vote on such things as the Maastricht and Lisbon treaties, and we didn't. What will the EU be like in 50 years? I don't know. What will we be like in 50 years? Asinine text. Is there enough time for another one? No, maybe not. Not before the news, anyway. But we haven't talked about the elephant in the room. The thing that's about to really affect our lives in a massively negative way. And that is related to time. It's going to happen again. You know what might be, in 50 years, the EU might be enjoying an extra hour of daylight in the winter, and we'll still be stuck doing this stupid thing twice a year. Now, there weren't many articles in the press about this today. I had to really root them out. And one of the better ones was the Telegraph, which gave us top 5 reasons to stop turning the bloomin' clocks back. But the Guardian gave us a sort of overview of it, and I'll come to that in a minute, I guess. But it's going to happen again, but the European Union might not happen there. One thing that they did do with the European Union was that they actually asked people what they think. And the answer was, we'd like an extra hour of daylight in the winter, thanks very much. And so that's probably what they're going to get. Whereas we will still be stuck doing this stupid thing. Steve says, can you please get around to talking about the elephant in the room? You've been promising to do it all night. I think the elephant in my room is starting to get a little tetchy and I don't know what to do. Should I stop eating cheese before bedtime? Yes, absolutely. I had a dream about Madonna the other night, which is utterly bizarre. I never play her music. I own one of her albums, the Willie Orbit album, which is more William Orbit than it is Madonna. But it just would seem to go on forever. I mean, I know dreams don't go on for hours, but this is just, it was so incredibly detailed. I was in her new video. I was, this is going to sound truly weird, I was shirtless and she was filming it. But she only filmed me from my neck up so as to make me appear as though I was actually fit. She didn't film me from the neck down because that would have been, awful. And I was climbing up and down fences in her new video. And I don't mind telling you, I did a fantastic job. And we were hanging out together, me and Madonna. So what does that mean? Get Siggy Freud on the phone and he'll splain it to us. He's not picking up? Well, keep trying. 0345 6060 973, just past 12:30. The news headlines on LBC with Andy Ivey.
Police. Nick Abbott on LBC.
Are you trying to tell me that this is your act?
This is all I got. Stephen in Cheltenham says, oh no, I've got that one. I've read that one already. Jacques in London says, these billionaires you're talking about are on the same gravy train as Barnier, Tusk, Juncker and the multitude of bureaucrats in Brussels who are on the gravy train we are expected to fund with 39 billion. It is painful. Do I really have to go through this again and explain to you the benefits of being in the EU?
Yes.
Yeah, apparently I do. I'll summarise it for you very, very briefly. For every £1 we pay to be a member of the EU, we get £10 back. There it is. That is the summation of the truth. That's a fact. For every pound we put in, the benefits that accrue equal £10, more or less. I think you'll find that is correct. Look it up. That is a return on our investment of about 800 to 2,300%. Streatham, hello, Ridgie.
Hello, Nick.
Ridgie.
Yes, I've got two things for you. Have you thought about today? You've got 1 hour back.
Yeah. No.
And you're supposed to finish, in 25 minutes?
I do finish in 25 minutes.
Yeah, but are you going to do an overtime, an hour overtime, or are you going to leave before, your timing?
No, the clocks go back at 1 second after, or precisely on 1, don't they?
Yeah, but, it's going to be midnight then, is it?
Is it?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, wait, let me work this out. This always... I know it's very simple, but it always foxes me every year. Hey, you know who else it foxes? Cab drivers. I don't get a cab from work anymore, but I can remember when I did. It would strike me with fear every time this day came around because I knew that the cabs would not arrive because it foxed their system. They just wouldn't be able to handle it.
You see? So now, what are you going to do? Are you going to leave then? Now, are you going to leave or are you going to stay on?
Are you kidding me? I'm leaving.
So who's going to be in between these hours then, between midnight and 1?
There's going to be complete silence. You have to make your own show up.
No, you know what you need to do? Just leave the answer machine on. That's it. People ringing, leave a message.
I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to call every single person that's rung this show and give them somebody else's phone number, and they can call each other for the next hour. How does that sound?
Yeah, and Nick, and another thing about the Brexit.
Yeah.
On my passport, I've got a visa stickers. It says, leave to remain.
Leave to remain, yeah. Leave to remain, yes.
It's like...
That's right, you got to go before you can stay.
When I get in, when I give them, when I show them my passport, they see that sticker, leave to remain. It's like they get confused.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's the whole plan. If you want to remain, you've got to first leave.
I think that's what they've got in Brussels. Of course, they don't want to tell you that. In Brussels, they're all European. The 27, including Britain. They all got. They have that big stickers on the English. On the Britain, they said leave. Like ILR, like indefinite leave to remain.
Yeah.
It means like we never leave. You're going to stay remain until the end of the world.
Yeah, well, OK, I'll see you at the airport, Reggie. Don't forget to bring your documents. All right, thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. Anthony in Greenwich says, and I've read that. That was him complaining about me reading stuff. I mean, I can't just keep it all in my head. I can't keep anything in my head. Of course I'm reading some of it. This says, the reason I want to leave the EU is... I've read that too. People don't get it. If you are poor, you still... I'll just read it as it's written. Don't people get it? If you poor, you still going to be even if we stayed in the EU? You really think the EU are interested in helping the poor? Well, more so than an unrestricted Conservative government, I do. Yes, absolutely. I mean, the EU are not a dictatorial organisation. They're way more democratic than we are. We have an unelected Prime Minister who answers to an unelected head of state and is overseen by an unelected upper house. No such thing exists in the European Union. The European Union is a coalition, a rainbow coalition. And, I'm losing the will to live. Just keep repeating the same things to the same blooming people who just refuse to take on board any new information. So I'm going to do this now, because this is important. I bellyache about this. Everybody does. Every single year when this comes around, we're about to be plunged into darkness for the next 6 months. And the Telegraph gave us 5 excellent reasons not to do this anymore. Chief amongst which wasn't mentioned in the Telegraph, was that we don't want to do this anymore. A YouGov poll found that 53% of Britons supported moving the clocks forward an hour permanently. 32% opposed the change, and the rest of them said had no opinion, one way or the other. 53% said, let's stop doing this. 32% said, I want to keep doing this, which is a remarkable statistic, really, because most people are persuaded to maintain the status quo with things like this because they're frightened of change. 53% of us want to stop doing this stupid thing with the clocks. It's the will of the people. And is anybody remotely interested with the will of the people if it doesn't coincide with their own?
No.
Of course not. Scotland, particularly the north of that great land, heavily favours the status quo. As switching to daylight savings time, which is what the summer part of our clock regime is called, the daylight savings time, that's the summer part. Switching to that all year round would result in sunrise after 10 a.m. in some parts of Scotland. And having grown up in Edinburgh, you know what I think about that? I don't care. The rest of us are being dictated to by an unrepresentative minority. Truly, we have taken back democracy. And the reason that politicians won't do anything about this is the same reason they won't legalise marijuana or do anything that moves us forward, regardless of how popular it might be. Because they'll get blamed by the press if anything negative happens as a result. Petrified they are. In fear of getting monstered by the Daily Mail. So they elect to do nothing, even though the majority of the people in this country want to stop the blooming clocks going back. I mean, nobody enjoys it getting dark at 4. And that's about to be what happens. I mean, I tweeted this out earlier on as well. You know, if you want to sit down, as I do, on a regular basis and watch the sun go down with a cocktail in your hand, I'm going to have to start drinking at 3:30 now. It's terrible. I'm going to be absolutely hammered by the time dinner time comes round. But this is, we're going through this again, and everybody just meekly, like sheep, just shuffles forward towards the dark. And so the Daily Telegraph gave us top 5 reasons to stop this insanity, and I'll get to that in just a minute. But first, let's have this call, it's an important call in Walthamstow. Musa.
Oh, morning, Nick.
Musa.
Yes, well, not quite. I'm behind you. I mean, I'm just in Leicester Square, driving my sherbet.
Okay.
Yeah, that Star Wars thing that you was talking about a little while back. Well, when all of the Star Wars films start, they have that write-up at the beginning, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. That drifts off into the hereafter, like, and fades away. And it says at the beginning, Episode 4, A New Hope, and then it tells you that Princess Leia was blah, blah, blah.
Well, don't tell us.
Oh, sorry. Spoiler alert. Yeah.
I always forget to read that thing. Am I the only one? Like, I sit there being pressed back into my seat with that fantastic music, and it's gone into the distance and it's too small to read before I start reading it.
I tried to read it all and see how far I can still keep reading, like an eye test.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? You keep reading it all the way till it disappears. But, like, yeah, that's what... After every one of the Star Wars films started off with that one. So I'll be interested to see what the new one does in December.
It'll do the exact same thing. It has to.
Yeah, they're milking it like a cow. But I'm addicted to milk. What can I tell you?
Well, me too. Yeah, especially the chocolate flavoured type. All right, thanks a lot, Musa. 0345 6060 973. I never get my head together to start reading those words before they've gone too far. And I think, oh, wait a minute. Rewind, but you can't. You're sitting in a cinema. Harry says, how can you get an extra hour of daylight by changing the clock? The amount of daylight is the same regardless of what time zone you're on. GMT is the correct time for us to be on. There's no such thing as a correct time. Our clocks have been all over the place. All over the place like Boris Johnson's hair. I mean, at times we've been 2 hours either side, I think. I don't know that that's true, but that doesn't stop it from being a fact. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. A brief reminder about my podcast. It's the best of this show. It's a half an hour digest of my favourite calls on this show. It's called The Nick Abbott Habit. Ask for it by name on an internet near you. The Nick Abbott Habit.
Coming up at 1 on LBC. Matt Stan. This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet @LBC. Text 84850.
Come on, we're running late.
Later than you know. Here's a call in Paul. Fred.
Hello?
Yes, Fred.
I must admit, I keep hearing people saying that there's a time limit on the changeover. It's 1 o'clock. It is 2 o'clock. The official time for the winter into summer is 1 hour.
Yeah, 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
Right, so at 2 o'clock, it will become 1 o'clock.
It will do, yeah.
Right, so at 1 o'clock, which is in 12 minutes, it will actually be 2 o'clock.
Yes, correct.
Well, that can't be true.
Why?
Because I say so. That's why. Don't question me.
Because I can question. It's when we get to 2 o'clock.
Yeah, when we get to 2.
That's when the clocks go back.
So it'll be 1.
Yeah.
So at 1, which is in 12 minutes...
They were saying earlier on...
Yes.
It was 1 o'clock, then it go back to 12 o'clock.
No, that's not true.
It's not true.
At 2, it will go back to 1, which means that at 1, in 12 minutes, it'll actually be 2.
Yeah, 1 o'clock, then they go back to 12 o'clock. No.
OK, I'll leave that with you. 0345 6060 973. Jerry says, clocks go back at 2 to be 1, so you're safe to go home. Clocks go back at 2 to be 1, so you're safe to go home. Does that make sense?
Negative.
Stuart says, this is very disappointing and most unacceptable. I assumed you would be staying on between the hours of 12 and 1. Does that mean that Matt Stadlen gets the hours overtime? You're always going on about how you've got no money. An extra hour could help fund repairs to your cars. Yeah, I don't want a repair to it. I just want to get rid of it. I want to sell it back to the people that sold it to me with great vengeance. Right, here's top 5 reasons why the Daily Telegraph thinks that we shouldn't do this blooming awful thing that we're about to do to ourselves. Lower energy bills. Conserving energy was one of the main reasons summer clocks were moved forward in the first place. Britain changed its clocks during the Second World War, which we won without any help from anybody else. It was the last blooming thing we won too. Don't talk to me about rugby. Nobody cares about rugby. Rugby's not a sport. It's a science experiment. See who's got the best steroids. A report from the Policy Studies Institute estimated that consumers could save £260 million a year. That's on our lecky bill alone. And that was in the mid-90s. An extra hour of sunlight in winter could save £485 million a year on electricity and heating. Wow. This has the same effect as eliminating carbon emissions of 70,000 people. An academic behind the report estimated that 0.5% of Britain's energy production is currently wasted in winter months, and that amounts to hundreds of millions of pounds a year that we're just chucking away. Might as well set fire to it. And then there's business benefits. Moving the clocks forward by an hour would bring the UK in line with Central European time. You know, Europe. Yes, that's them. That means that London could work on the same trading hours as Brussels and Paris and Frankfurt and Milan. And for businesses to operate internationally, this could cut down on staff overtime costs, they said, not to mention confusion over scheduling. It would also give the UK an extra hour of overlap with Beijing and Tokyo and other export markets in Asia, in China. So there's that. So those two arguments are all about the money, honey. And then there's the safety aspect. I mean, some people are whining about children travelling to school in the dark, but kids don't go to school in the dark on their own. They're driven in cars the size of tanks. So that is not an issue anymore. Between 68 and 71, there was a 3-year experiment, apparently. I don't recall it because I was very, very young at the time. I wasn't paying attention. I probably didn't have a watch. But we had a 3-year experiment to keep British summertime year-round. Some of you will remember that. And guess what happened as far as road casualties are concerned? An 11% drop. We became a more safe country. There was a 17% reduction in road casualties in Scotland. How about that? So why are we doing this? There are 50% more fatal and serious injuries among adults travelling during the evening rush hour than the morning peak. So if you make the evening rush hour lighter, then that number would go down, logically. And it's estimated an extra half hour of evening daylight could save the NHS £200 million a year in accident-related costs, which is also about the money, honey. And then there's a boost to tourism, which again is money. Lighter and longer winter evenings could boost the tourism industry by £3.5 billion a year. I mean, so far it's all positive. Why are we still doing this? £3.5 billion a year that we are desperately in want of. That's according to the Tourism Alliance. What do they know about tourism? The annual income boost from the 60 to 80,000 extra jobs that this would create could amount to 720 million quid. Just for that. Just for the jobs. Business would be inclined to stay open longer. Tourists and locals alike would have more time in the day to spend on outdoor recreational activities. As in booze. A report from 2010 claimed that people would gain 235 hours of post-work daylight each year. Of course, you don't use the daylight in the morning for anything other than scrabbling around, shoving breakfast in your face and rushing out to get the bus you're late for. But in the evening, you've got no end of things to do. You can use the extra daylight in the evening, whereas in the morning it just disappears because you're going to work. Doesn't matter whether you're going to work in the dark, because a significant number of us are going to work on the underground anyway. It's always dark down there. The tourism industry has been crying out for extra daylight saving for years, says Conservative MP Rebecca Harris. I bet they have. Screaming. And then there's our British sporting excellence. The Football Association, the Lawn Tennis Association, the England and Wales Cricket Board, all backed year-round daylight savings, and with good reason. Because an extra hour of daytime increases the time available for exercise. Makes people more likely to attend evening sporting events. Means professional athletes can train for longer. We might just reduce our waist size. In the 80s, the golf industry estimated that one extra month of daylight savings could generate $400 million a year in extra sales and fees. Golfing. Nobody plays golf in the dark. So why are we doing it? It makes no sense. And it's just so miserable. I mean, it's going to get dark at 4 o'clock soon. And the only reason that we're doing it is because politicians don't want to do anything. They don't want to move quickly. It's like they're stuck in the headlights, petrified to make a move. Because if they do it, and the press will be on the edge of their seat, waiting to pour a bucket of ordure all over them. And the first accident that happens, they'll be standing on the opposite side of the street at number 10, shouting, "Are you going to resign, Prime Minister?" You know, like those stupid idiots who hang around outside number 10. "Are you feeling ashamed, Minister?" You know, those people. That's what they're petrified of. So they do nothing. Archie says, "I'm moving my clock back tonight to 2015, so no more Brexit." Well, wouldn't that be nice? Dan says, "Why don't we have a referendum about changing the clocks? That'll completely divide the country again. And Brexiters can use one time and Remainers can use the other, and we can all remain firmly in the dark forever on." Well, that sounds like an excellent idea. We could all have our own time. We could build a wall between us.
I'm building a wall, okay? I'm building a wall. I'm building a wall, okay? I'm building a wall.
You know who builds great walls?
I would build a great wall, and nobody builds walls better than me, believe me.
Yeah, I believe him. Whenever he says believe me, don't believe him.
Believe me, 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 okay?
We could all occupy our own time. Any others about time here?
I don't think so.
None?
That's your lot on time.
Oh, right. The clocks go back at 2, says Bex. Only people who loves jungle music know that. You don't like it, so we understand. The clocks go back at 2. Only people who loves jungle music knows that. You don't like it, so we understand. I've got absolutely no idea what that means. Do you have any idea what that means?
I don't get half the music references.
No,
so I thought
well,
it might be.
me either. I just pretend that I know what I'm talking about. I've got no clue what I'm talking about on this or any other subject. But I do know that it is about to get very, very dark and very, very wet and miserable. I know. Cheer up, mate. It might never Oh, no, that's right. It already has. Oh, well. Never mind, eh? I don't know what you're thinking.
Stop whining.
Yeah, okay then. Always look on the bright side of life, unless it's dark. Now, whatever happens between now and... hey, you know what might be? It's still possible. By this time next week, well... we could be out, enjoying our glorious future. Oh, wouldn't that be marvellous? Well, we'll find out then, eh? Whatever happens between then and now, now and next Friday and Saturday at 10. Well, we'll chew it up and we'll spit it out then, eh? In the meantime, if you stick around, I believe that Steve Allen will set you straight at 5. But right now, it's Matt Stadler.
Just whinging and whining and moaning.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
Hey, Nick, I've got a suggestion.
Yes?
Seeing as you're on such perky form,
yeah.
Would you like one of my extra hours?
Let me think about that. I'll tell you at 3.
I'll pay you.
Yeah, how much?
A lot of money.
How much?
I'll make it worth your while.
Can I...
How much would you accept?
I would accept a blank cheque. I'll don't worry yourself. I'll fill it in.
That's a little bit much. I tell you one other thing. You know I like you very much. I almost love you. But if you continue to criticise rugby,
yeah,
we're going to fall out.
Right.
It is the second greatest sport in the world, Nick.
After?
Cricket.
I knew you were going to say that.